You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on this final day of March? Hope your week's going well as we head to the home stretch together here on the Florida Sports Network. How are you this fine morning?
Glad to see you. Didn't know if you're going to show up. Didn't know if you'd retire between 8:30 and 6 a.m. last night, David.
Well, I don't know if the decision's entirely up to me.
Funny. It rarely is.
Just like we really don't know if the decision was entirely up to Bruce Arians, who, in case you missed it, well, he retired last night.
Wow.
Last night, March 30th, decided now was the time to retire. Not 2 months earlier, right after they lost to the Rams or anything like that.
Not before Brady retired. Not after Brady retired. But after Brady unretired.
And not before free agency, but after the majority of free agency.
Right.
But it was his decision, Mark. He's getting up there in years, and he wasn't going to be here long term anyway. So, it was his decision. That's the story, Mark.
He really must have enjoyed the Breakers. What am I doing grinding when I could be hanging here eating $39 cheeseburgers? Exactly. This West Coast of Florida thing, it's got nothing on the East Coast. Not when you're in PB, baby.
So he's moving upstairs. They give him a little cush, job. He gets to, come by whenever he wants and, just schmooze with the secretaries and some of the people in the front office. Hey, what are you guys doing? Working on anything? How's your off season going? They're one of those jobs.
Any season ticket holders I need to call?
Right. Do we have a golf outing? An alumni thing?
Where's the photo op today?
Sapp and Brooks coming back into town for something? Is there something Dungy or Gruden can't make? I mean, you don't want Gruden appearing at these things, do you?
He's suing everybody.
No? It's good. I can go back to playing golf? Okay. Got to admit, this opens up all new tee times, though, I think. Because, there was some work involved before. I mean, he had to fit it in after his workday, or he had to get it in the morning and then head into the office. I mean, now he can play golf whenever he wants, fish whenever he wants. I mean, it really does open up your day.
Open up your day, huh?
Yep.
That's what you get out of this? Bruce Arians' day's been opened up a little bit. He's a senior consultant.
Right.
I don't know how your day could be much more open than that, David.
Let me tell you, that's a gig we all want.
That's what you should aspire to be, young Felipe. If there is a job out there that you want, it is senior consultant. I don't know to what, but if you ever get to the point where you can be senior consultant, you've accomplished a lot, David.
He is 69. I mean, that's why he's a senior consultant. I mean, listen, I think most of us want to retire before 69, don't we?
Yes.
I mean, you're trying to retire before 59, for goodness sakes.
That's going to be impossible.
Well, I'm aware of that, but glad that you've finally,
oh, David,
that realization.
If I can retire by 69, I'd be really happy.
Oh, come on. You'll be retired by 69.
Dead, maybe. I don't know about retired.
Well, this just did. If you're dead, you're retired. So,
put it this way, I'd rather be working.
Steve in Florida says in our Twitch chat room, hey, give Arians another 40 days. He might come back.
What is this? Is this football Lent?
Well played, Steve. Well played. Well, if Brady could come back after 40 days. But they've already named Todd Bowles the successor. That didn't take long. Who are you going to give it to, Bowles or Leftwich? Bowles, who's been a head coach before. I mean, he was an interim coach with the Dolphins for a few games. He had a 4-year run with the Jets, had a 10-win season his first year. Didn't go all that well the next 3 years. Of course, the roster wasn't all that good either.
He certainly inherits a little better roster in Tampa than what he was dealing with the Jets.
Right. He was trying to win games with Geno Smith as quarterback with the Jets. So before you get on Todd Bowles and his record, all right, just realize that hasn't been a good roster in a while. And by a while, I mean a decade. So, but Bowles was a tremendous defensive coordinator.
Absolutely.
Now, we have no idea if he's also going to be calling the defensive signals. Some guys, when they move over to be a head coach, they still continue to call the signals. Other guys don't. Bowles, not the outgoing personality that Arians is. I mean, we as sports talk show hosts, we in the media, this is a big loss.
Bruce provides good quote.
Yes. We'll even curse occasionally. And we're fine with that on this show.
Oh, I'm fine with any coach that speaks reasonably freely. Todd Bowles is not that guy.
No. Now, maybe, I think Tampa's going to be a little bit more comfortable a setting than the Jets' job was. Maybe he loosens up a smidge.
I doubt it. Personalities don't change all that much.
I understand. But when you're representing the organization as opposed to one side of the ball, I mean, it wouldn't kill you, is what I'm saying. I mean, it wouldn't kill you. He obviously has one. People like him. They really do. Players like playing for him. The Jets players like playing for him. Never mind how much the defensive players in Tampa have liked playing for him. He's been a popular coach wherever he's been. Arizona, Miami even. I wanted him to be promoted when he was interim head coach with the Dolphins for a few games. I wanted them to give him the gig.
All those things can all be true. And the fact that his personality is not going to change could also be 100% true, David. I know you want it, and I know I would like it as well. But I don't see a whole lot of change out of the guy becoming a head coach.
But let's be honest. Let's get to the heart of the matter. Do we think this was Arians' decision?
I actually do.
Wow. I am surprised at that. You are more of a cynic than I am.
I am, but I believe that he wanted to control who got the job. You and I talked before the show. You said it. I was thinking it all morning. In that this is so much like how Dean Smith went out at North Carolina. And obviously Dean Smith's more of a legend than Bruce Arians. I get it. But when you retire at a certain time, you can completely control the narrative. And I believe that's what Arians did here. Arians was able to pick his replacement without any interviews, without anything really having to happen. Did it in a period of time that you're able to just slide Bowles in. It's seamless, and you don't go through the hoopla of the interview process in the NFL. How they get away with this is interesting.
Well, it's real easy how they get away with it. First off, the timing of the year, I think, allows them to get away with it. Number one. Number two, who they hired as coach allows them to get away with it. Steve in our Twitch chat room does bring up something that is interesting, something that I believe to be true. He asked, would Arians still be the head coach if Brady had stayed retired? And I think the answer is yes. I don't think Arians wanted to saddle Bowles with a bad team. Just like I always thought in San Antonio that Popovich was taking these losses and he was getting the roster back up, I always thought he was going to hand it off to the female assistant. Okay. And Pop was going to take the losses because he could. He's a Hall of Famer. He's won titles. All right. The first female head coach in the NBA needs to get a good roster. All right. Just the fans, maybe it's the players, organizations. Listen, they're going to come down harder on a female head coach whose team is going 30-52 than they are on a male head coach who's going 30-52. I feel the same way here, that Arians did not want to hand Bowles a 6-11 team.
Becky Hammon's the name you're looking for.
There you go. If Blaine Gabbert or Kyle Trask, were the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Bucs, they were going 6-11. And I don't think Arians wanted to saddle Bowles with that.
100%. 100%.
Now, how do you think Tampa fans feel now knowing that their head coach is the man responsible for the play that ruined their season last year? Or at least the defensive scheme?
Yeah, well, there's no question about it.
I mean,
okay, but listen, he's done too many good things as defensive coordinator. He got burned there. He made a mistake. Shouldn't have done it. But,
I think they're going to be more upset the fact that Arians left them. I don't think they're going to be mad at Bowles. I think if there's any angst, it'll be at Arians for leaving when Brady came back.
it was so random. Like you said, 8 p.m. on a Wednesday night.
Now, there are all sorts of stories out there, all kinds of stories. And remember, this goes back to late in the season that Brady and Arians weren't on the best of terms, which Arians has denied in vehement terms. He has denied certain reports with colorful language. He has denied them so strongly. So there is all sorts of stuff out there. Was Brady told this when he was in the owner's box at the soccer match a few
Did
weeks
Brady
ago?
tell them, I'm not coming back to play for this guy?
Right. The story that came out last night was that when Brady unretired, Arians called him and said, here's what I'm thinking about doing. But it was after Brady came back. Okay. Who knows the truth?
But I believe he retired on his own. I don't believe that this was Tom Brady's decision. I think this was Bruce Arians' decision.
Huh.
He got to pick his successor this way. And I think that was most important to Bruce Arians. He has his Super Bowl ring.
I think this should be the focus of our poll question. All right. I do. More on this on the other side. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Felipe, I watched pretty much the entire Heat game last night. And that, for the first time of watching a game that I was anticipating, actually was a competitive game. The NBA is not a good product in the regular season. That I feel badly for you because you love the league so much. I think this product pales in comparison to the product from 20 and 30 years ago. It's hard for me to after watching the college game, it's hard to watch how little it takes for guys to draw a foul.
Heartbreaking. That way, that put the Lakers back in the play-in
for today.
for today. Right.
Oh my gosh.
But that just would have further eliminated them. But
The Rams did not get screwed because of anything that the state did or didn't do. Canada relief. The Rams got screwed because the owner of the team wanted to more than double the value of the team, and he wanted to move it to Los Angeles.
Mark, I understand where you're coming from, though.
I know you love the sport. Like, I watched it and I was excited that at least was a competitive game. Like, I'm not, I'm like, I think I've told you in the last 2-3 years, there's been like, all right, Memphis Warrior, whatever. There's a game on at 8:00 and it's two good teams and it's supposed to be a big game. And I mean, it seemed every time I watched a damn big game, it's done by halftime. It's a blowout.
Yeah,
Last night was at least a competitive game. I just personally think the product is It's why I like the NFL so much. I still love the product.
Well, regular season games matter way more in the NFL. That's the thing.
But I used to watch every Piston game, all 82 or all 80. I mean, you know what I mean? I couldn't wait to watch Piston basketball.
You want to know something?
I just don't like the style. Don't like the style of the game.
Those two teams are very, there's not really one solidified, flashy superstar.
Right.
Except
that's my kind of ball.
I guess Tatum would be your only guy.
And Jaylen Brown was amazing last night.
Is amazing.
I mean, shooting the ball. What I'm saying is that style,
right?
Hit a 40-foot 3-pointer while cool. Boy, you better be making them, or it's not.
No, or
it's not.
Go one-on-one with a guy in the post. Give me a move.
Something.
Yeah.
It is aesthetically. It's not. I don't think it's a great watch.
And I'm going to tell you why I'm similar to you in that sense. That is why, and I know it's different now because he's older, but that is why I like watching LeBron James so much, because he embodies all of that, all of the style that you like, because he played kind of in that era for a little bit,
Yeah, yeah.
If you're watching him a human highlight reel.
I like LeBron. Don't get me wrong, Felipe. I like LeBron. I don't always love him personally. I love the player.
I get you.
I'm one of those people that can separate the two.
But watching him play basketball is a sight.
Yeah. John Morant's a sight, but I mean the game.
Kevin Durant,
the
Kyrie
game.
Irving.
Even with that, those guys have to be on every night for that game to be exciting. That's what's disappointing.
The nationally televised regular season product has not really delivered this season. I can say that.
It hasn't delivered in 10, but that's just me.
No, before the
pandemic. Are we coming back?
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour, this final day of March, Thursday the 31st. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Terrific show lined up for you. Talk a little golf with Bob Harig as the Masters is a week away. And what they used to call the Dinah Shore is teeing off for the final time out in California beginning today. He will join us a little over an hour from now. Roy Cummings will join us in our 8 o'clock hour to talk about what is the big story of the day, which is there's a new sheriff in Tampa Bay, and his name is Todd Bowles. 69-year-old Bruce Arians retires. And if you go back 3+ years, Mark, I mean, if we had said, hey, Arians going to come in, he's going to give it 3 years. First year, he's going to see whether or not Jameis is the franchise quarterback. And if so, all right, go forward with Jameis. If not, we're cutting bait. We're getting somebody else in here. And Bruce said, I ain't in this long term. I mean, when he came in, he said, I'm 66. I'm not going to do this forever. I want to win or I'm getting out. And then 2 terrific years back to back. One culminating in a Super Bowl. The other with a division title and a second-round playoff exit, but obviously a good season.
He said in comments to Peter King, and who's the other reporter he gave this to?
I believe it was Sam Farmer, the LA Times.
You're right. And he said he thought about retiring after the Super Bowl. Gave it a lot of thought, going out on top. Walk away right now. And he figured Brady's coming back. Let's see. Let's run this sucker down one more time.
So 3 and done. The timing is interesting, though. He didn't make the decision like Brady did in the immediate aftermath of losing to the Rams.
And maybe he wanted to. Maybe he smartly gave it time.
Maybe Brady beat him to it, and he said, I can't leave now. We've got Kyle Trask at quarterback, for goodness sakes. I can't do this to my guy, Todd Bowles. I mean, that'll be the situation he inherited in New York, although he's got a few better players around him, but still, come on now. I can't do this to Todd. Got to find him a quarterback. And then once Brady came back, you can make the case Arians said, well, Todd's got a quarterback. I don't need to be here anymore. Mark, maybe he just stayed on for one more golf outing with his fellow coaches over at the Breakers there.
Maybe he couldn't handle what Andy Reid and Ron Rivera were wearing to these things.
Hey, I'm supposed to be the loudest guy here. I'm feeling pretty snarky today.
Oh, yes, you are. Because our poll question's up and it's 100% David Moulton.
Listen, it's really snarky if Mark Miller's going, hey, this one's on you.
Bruce Arians retired. Who made the decision? You have 2 choices. Bruce Arians, Tom Brady.
There you go. Come on. We're not ducking it. We're not ducking it.
I think it's Bruce Arians. I don't believe that David does.
No, I don't. And I could argue that once Brady came back, in essence, Brady made the decision for Arians. There's not enough room in this kitchen for both of us. One of us got to go. I'm voting B. You're voting A for Arians. I'm voting B for Brady.
See what I did there? A, Arians, B, Brady.
No, I did.
Huh?
I mean, you're a talent.
I don't know if I'd go that far. I'm something.
Well, they use that phrase very loosely these days. On-air talent is what, and we all roll our eyes at that and go, whatever you want to call us. We've been called a lot worse.
And that's just before I leave the house in the morning.
But so there you have it. That's our poll question. At that Mark Miller, at the David Moulton, at FL Sports Network. And I believe it even gets posted on floridasportsnetwork.com. That's if Felipe gets around to it. There's a lot of NBA for him to pay attention to. He's, all excited. The Heat won a big regular season game, which is usually an oxymoron. NBA, big regular season game. But there actually were a few last night. And
if you guys say so.
And the Heat won one of them.
Trying to figure out where the seeding's going to matter a whole lot at the end of the day.
Well, I think it could matter if you're just trying to avoid Brooklyn in the first round. So right now, Brooklyn would maybe play the 2 seed if they get out of the play-in because they're in the 7-8 game. So it might be beneficial to be the 1 just because you might be playing the winner of Charlotte and Atlanta, if you know what I mean.
Really is the stupidest situation when you think about it.
Well, NBA just trying to do what Major League Baseball's doing by adding an extra wild card team. They're just trying to keep more teams in it longer.
And that's what they've done. Trust me, it's working for them. Their most popular team would be completely out of the playoffs if not for this play-in.
Right?
And we're not an NBA market. Tampa's not an NBA market. In fact, we're not really in a market that I would consider an NBA market.
Not yet.
We ever get to the other coast, things change dramatically, but Tampa's not an NBA market. But in NBA markets, it's still a big deal. And the fact that we joke about it on this show, but the fact that last night with San Antonio losing, the Lakers for the moment are back in the play-in. It'll be the lead story on at least 4 of these shows that come on these networks later in the day.
I'll keep it simple. They need to shut down LeBron. They need to shut down AD. They need to shut down the season. It's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. You're going to play the Suns in the first round and get swept? Okay, cool.
Yes.
Have fun with that.
And that's 10 more seconds than we needed to spend on the topic. But I agree wholeheartedly with everything that he said. But Bruce Arians is retired. If you're just waking up to the news, if by chance you didn't hear it last night, the news broke, between 8 and 8:30?
Somewhere around there, I saw it on the bottom scroll and went, what the hell?
Exactly. And so Roy Cummings will join us in a couple hours to talk about it. Eric Edholm will join us on the show, even though he's very much a draft guy, but he covers the NFL at large. We can talk to him about it as well. Want to hear from you? You can join us, whether it's on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel, and join us in the Twitch chat room, but feel free to text the show. If you never have before, it's easy. Text FSN Radio, all one word, FSN Radio, and send the text to 21000 21000. And if you've done it before, then you know you can text to your heart's content. Our poll question, that's another way to chime in. Bruce Arians is retired. Who made the decision, Bruce Arians or Tom Brady? This gets into the whole, who's really the general manager of this here team. And by the way, if you believe Tom Brady's the general manager of this here team, I think he's doing a hell of a job. A hell of a job, particularly if you look at the history of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you want to be incredibly cynical and incredibly snarky, Mark, if you want to go, well, Tom Brady's the general manager of the Bucs, well, then I think he should be a finalist for Executive of the Year. Because they're pretty damn good.
And would they be getting any of these players without said Executive of the Year?
Right.
I mean, does anybody believe that Jason Light and Bruce Arians and now Todd Bowles are the reason that free agents are flocking to Tampa Bay? Because they've never flocked to Tampa Bay before Tom Brady.
The new receiver they brought in from Atlanta, he had no relationship with Brady. He said, I answered my cell phone. Tom Brady was on the other end. I thought it was a joke. Then when I realized it was Tom Brady and he said, hey, you're a really good player. We'd love to have you. He said, well, it was over. I just told my agent, whatever they offer, let's go. We're going to Tampa. That's a hell of a GM right there.
Maybe he did fire a coach. That's what GMs do, after all. It is our poll question. Who's responsible for the decision, Brady or Arians? This is Miller and Moulton.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program
The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Right. Where are you driving? Oh, okay. Well, good luck. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Love when he said, "I'm your first call." Funny.
Guy texts the show, says, can we call Eric Church Axel Church? And can we call Chastain the Melanator?
Ooh,
I love that.
I love Melanator. Wonder if he'd like it.
I don't know. Where are they this week? Oh, they're in Richmond.
I heard somebody say, it was more than just Pockras, that the reason they think that Trackside and a couple of the other teams are the new car, that this was the perfect year for like a new team to enter the sport.
Because they're all figuring
that
it
basically the NASCAR did most of the engineering work for you. There's not much for you to alter.
So this is a little more IROC car than...
So basically you just need to have cash.
You know what? The day got away from me. Never. All I had to eat yesterday during the day was Oreo cookies. What I have done to this box of Oreo cookies has been incredible.
Was it the Oreos or the mints that you also destroyed?
I destroyed the mints. I have been eating so terribly. In fact, I was going to do it today during the show. I may do it tomorrow. Not only did they buy Oreos, where I've got regular Oreos, double stuffed Oreos, and golden Oreos, all in a box of fun. She bought Cheez-Its too, like the individual bag Cheez-Its.
Oh, game over.
I was going to bring one in so David and I could eat one during the break on air because I wanted to prove how ridiculous having these around my house are.
Cheez-Its are really freaking good,
I
man.
I think he called back.
I am a terrible nighttime eater. I can be perfect on a diet until 9 o'clock.
Okay. All right.
But like watching that game last night, the wife goes to bed and I'm sitting there. I start walking around the living room, pantry,
Yep.
pantry.
Making your routes.
Do I eat Oreos with a fork? No.
So, what the heck?
Oreos, I don't even bite Oreos. I just shove them in my mouth.
Cookie or cream?
Huh?
Cookie or cream?
You mean like what you prefer?
Yeah.
Okay, so
There's a Super Bowl commercial about this, guys. Come on.
No, I eat the Oreos. I don't separate the cookies from the cream.
Do you split Oreos?
I used to when I was a kid.
I
used to scrape
I
all-
used to.
You break them up. So
no, sometimes I'll break one up.
really,
No, I don't dunk them in milk. I don't hardly
I
ever
don't
drink.
split them. I don't dunk them.
Eat them.
I eat them.
Eat them.
Sometimes,
right? You don't bite an Oreo. You just shove one in your mouth.
Yeah,
Thank you.
right.
And
then-
you almost.
and
And
then
I
you
like
start
the fact
chewing
that
it.
he makes that sound.
It's a quick sound.
Yep. No, don't dunk them. Don't break them open.
See what
Nope.
I'll see.
It is a poll
That is a
question,
good
Rick.
poll
We'll do it
question.
tomorrow.
So what I'll do sometimes is I'll break it up, and then I'll get one side will have cookie and cream, and then another side will just be cookie. And then
Right.
Boom, boom.
That's how it works.
milk.
Right. Yep.
I don't have that kind of time.
There are so many different ways that you can eat an Oreo.
And you
But
dunk them?
in milk? Yeah, of
I'm just asking.
course.
I mean, I'm not
Come on now. Gotta have milk with the Oreos.
No, you don't.
Well, you don't. You know what
You know what's
Well-
better than milk? Vanilla ice cream.
Oh yeah, break them
I'll
up.
just take them and break
Get-
up about 10 of them and
get
just
the
go to
spoon.
town. Oh, yeah.
You know what I like with the vanilla ice cream? The Oreo thins.
It's a tough call. The multicolored sprinkles or the broken up Oreos. Like when you go to one of those places.
I'm not a
and you're
sprinkle
like,
guy.
See, and I love the colored sprinkles.
I like rainbow sprinkles as well.
That proves both you are 8-year-old girls.
Maybe, maybe. But I also fill it halfway up and then do a big thing of sprinkles and then fill it all the way up and do another big thing. Of sprinkles.
I'll give you
Because
respect
I hate
for.
getting halfway through the ice cream and your sprinkles
right.
are gone.
Just keep watching the clock. But see, Culver's, this is what pisses me off. They got these concrete mixers and you can put whatever
5
you
seconds.
want in them.
5 seconds.
You get to the bottom of that sucker and there's nothing there.
Right.
What are you doing to me?
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You're really missing out if you don't check us out on twitch.tv, the Miller and Moulton channel. Follow us, subscribe to us. Just had a banner segment on Oreos and ice cream.
First one was a total Heat Celtic break.
Right.
We did an entire NBA break. Break
Right.
1. Break 2, Oreos and ice cream.
Correct.
We're off to a good
A
start.
little bit of Cheez-Its in there as well.
Well, can never go wrong. So there you have it. If that doesn't get you to sign up, well, that's really the best we can do.
David likes sprinkles.
I do. I prefer the multicolored rainbow sprinkles, as I call them.
Right. As now, have you ever heard them called anything else? Because my whole life I'd called them sprinkles. I've never thought they were anything but sprinkles. My wife refers to them as Jimmies.
Never.
Jimmy's.
Yeah.
What?
And see, spits on sports right there, Jimmies.
Well, there's
I'd never heard that in my life.
Yeah, me neither.
the thing is, there's chocolate sprinkles and rainbow sprinkles.
But they're I understand
Jimmy's
that.
are Jimmy's.
But Jimmy's are Jimmy's.
See, and to me,
Jimmy's are Jimmy's, not Joe's.
right. See, to me, when I think Jimmy's, I think Joe's. I think players. I don't think X's and O's. I think Jimmy's and Joe's.
And without any further ado, it is now time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
I feel like we're reading Green Eggs and Ham on Saturday Night Live there. Bruce Arians retired last night, 69 years old. Took the Arizona Cardinals to an NFC Championship game. Was Coach of the Year with a couple of different teams. 3 years in Tampa, 2 playoff appearances, the Super Bowl title from a couple years ago. And they give Todd Bowles a 5-year contract. He's the head coach. It's his second stint as a head coach. He had a 4-year run with the Jets where he had a 10-win season and then 3 losing seasons. But, of course, if you had Geno Smith as your quarterback, you'd have 3 losing seasons out of 4 as well. In other NFL news, although I do want to say our poll question is Bruce Arians is retired. Who made that decision? A, Bruce Arians. B, Tom Brady. Yes, it's snarky. It's very Miller and Moulton.
So Are We.
Patrick Peterson re-signed with the Vikings, a 1-year deal. Jabril Peppers left the Giants for the Patriots, a 1-year deal, $5 million. Peppers recovering from a torn ACL. Malcolm Jenkins retires. Could be a Hall of Famer. Super Bowls with the Saints and the Eagles, 13-year career. Could do anything he wants, by the way. Could be a coach, could be a GM, could be a broadcaster.
And might not do any.
No,
Because his foundation.
Yep.
I listened to a great interview on Rich Eisen with Jenkins yesterday. That's a complete human being. He can do whatever. You're right, David. He can do whatever he wants.
but a tremendous 13-year career will garner serious Hall of Fame consideration and won 2 Super Bowls with the 2 franchises that he played for. I don't want to say that the Bills stadium deal is already turning bad for the state of New York. But remember, the state was kicking in $600 million,
Right.
and the county was kicking in $250 million.
Now, that's $850 million, right?
Correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm able to still do math.
Right.
Go ahead, David.
And now, once again, Mark, it's all in the finer details. it turns out that the county / state is responsible for the maintenance costs to the stadium. And they guesstimate that over the lifetime of this contract here, that the maintenance costs will be $250 million. Well, that takes the cost right up to $1.1 billion right there. Listen, I don't want to say it's been a bad week for the governor of New York, but a day apart, the headline read, State of New York, $600 million to the Bills. The day before, cuts the children and families budget by $800 million. That's a bad headline, just so you know, when you're running for office.
Not a good one.
I mean, it works well out in Buffalo.
You'll do well in Erie County.
You will. Elsewhere, not so much. There are two contracts. Oh, by the way, as we detour here for a second, there are two contracts that are really shaping the NFL going forward. One is the Deshaun Watson contract, fully guaranteed at $46 million a year with a full no trade clause. We found out also. So 5 years, $230, fully guaranteed, full no trade clause. Well, Lamar Jackson came out and said, well, okay, that's a good starting point, I guess. And Joe Burrow's waiting in the wings. And these owners are not happy. That's contract number one. Contract number two is the state of New York with this Bill Stadium deal. Because there are other teams out there that are wanting, like Kansas City. I mean, they've been playing in Arrowhead for damn near 60 years. And so, now they're like, hey, we could use, we pumped some money into this thing. We could use some help and, maybe a new stadium. And yeah, so just every deal has consequences. And those are the two biggest deals, essentially, that have been done here in the last month.
And the B behind what New York has put behind the Bills Stadium, and not Bills, billion,
right,
is the bigger game changer. The difference is that not every team can get up and move.
Well, yeah. I mean, like the Chiefs are going to move.
Right.
I mean, come on now. Really? I dare you. The old Robert Conrad battery commercial. I dare you. Please, don't threaten me with this. U.S. men's national team lost to Costa Rica yesterday 2-0, but they won.
But they didn't lose 6-0.
So they qualified for the World Cup. Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. are the three that automatically qualify out of the CONCACAF region. So after missing it in 2018, the red, white, and blue are back in the World Cup. Qatar in the fall. Head coach Greg Berhalter, first coach in U.S. history to make it as a player and as a coach, because he was part of the most successful U.S. team ever. Most people don't realize in 2002, the U.S. men made it to the quarterfinals. And if there was replay in 2002, may have beaten Germany. They were outplaying the Germans, and there was a handball on the goal line, a clear handball on the goal line. Not called. Would have been a goal. U.S. would have been up 1-0. And instead, in the final 30 minutes of the match, the Germans wore them down and ended up scoring twice. Second one because the U.S. was trying to attack and all that. I'm telling you, nobody talks about that 2002 team. Made it to the quarters and were playing with Germany. I digress. Costa Rica, by the way, has to play one of those one-game qualifiers.
That's why the game was important for them. They were still in and around with Panama.
Right. They had to at least get into the one-game showdown to try to make the World Cup. NBA, a big game in Boston last night. It really was the number one seed on the line, and the Heat went on the road and beat the Celtics 106-98. They trailed heading to the fourth quarter. Jimmy Butler with 24 points. Here's what you need to know. The Heat are a game up on Milwaukee, and they own the tiebreaker because it's right now. They've split head-to-head, but the second tiebreaker is better conference record. Heat have the best conference record of the 4 teams that are challenging for the top seed. So with 5-6 games left, the Heat are the 1 seed by a game over Milwaukee, even though they're tied in the loss column. Sixers and Celtics are 2 games back. Toronto beat Minnesota by 23. Toronto's tied for the 5th seed with the Bulls. The T-Wolves now look as if they're going to be in a play-in with the Clippers. Dallas is now tied for 3rd in the West. They beat Cleveland 120-112. The Cavs have fallen into the play-in. They're 2 games out of the 6th spot. They're probably going to have a 1-game showdown with Brooklyn. Oh, boy. Hopefully then they can beat either Charlotte or Atlanta, who comes out of the other side. But Dallas now tied with Golden State for the 3 seed mark. Warriors lost at home to the Suns 107-103. Memphis officially clinched the 2 seed last night in the West. They beat San Antonio by 1. And for the moment, it drops the Spurs out of the play-in and moves the Lakers back in by a half a game. Wizards beat the Magic by 17. Orlando is tied for the worst record in the league, and they have the worst record in the East. The Knicks officially eliminated from the playoffs with a loss at home to Charlotte, and the Hornets are the 9 seed. Houston lost. They're battling Orlando for the worst record in the league. Denver beat Indiana. Denver's now the 5 seed, a half a game ahead of Utah. And Atlanta's the 10 seed in the East. They beat Oklahoma City by 18. C.J. McCollum returned to Portland last night. He did so with the Pelicans. He scored 25. And New Orleans, who's the 9 seed out west, beat Portland by 10. In the NHL, there were 6 games, a few with playoff implications. The Rangers, this was their game in hand on Pittsburgh, Mark, and they beat Detroit in overtime 5-4, so they're 3 points ahead of the Penguins as to who's probably going to have home ice when they play one another in the first round.
It's actually a really entertaining game.
Yeah.
Back and forth the whole game.
And Detroit couldn't close the deal. They had them 4-3 late. St. Louis, speaking of 4-3, beat Vancouver by that score, and the Blues moved back into 3rd in the Central. Vancouver's in big trouble to make the playoffs. Winnipeg in a must-win, got it in Buffalo 3-2 in a shootout. Edmonton 4-3 over the Kings. Connor McDavid with a goal and an assist. Arizona beat San Jose, and Vegas shut out Seattle. The worst-kept secret in college basketball became official last night. Shaheen Holloway, who led Seton Hall to the Sweet 16 as a player, who met his wife at Seton Hall, and the AD at Seton Hall was the guy who hired him at St. Peter's. Shaheen Holloway signed a 6-year deal to become the new head coach of Seton Hall.
You know, these 15s that win a couple games, they
Right.
really come out of this all right.
The head coaches do.
I mean, they really do. The schools do.
Yep.
And the coaches do. Good for them. Reward success.
Apparently, St. Peter's backed up the Brinks truck, which we're assuming means that they came up with like $1 million a year offer. Because Shaheen was making like $220 as head coach at St. Peter's. But they backed up the truck and said, hey, are you sure you want to do this? And Shaheen went, I really appreciate it, but yes. Jim Harbaugh made some news late yesterday. He quietly announced that the honorary captain for the Michigan spring football game is Colin Kaepernick, which makes sense. Kaepernick played for Harbaugh. One time Harbaugh went to the Super Bowl as a head coach. Kaepernick was his quarterback. So Kaepernick, honorary captain for the Michigan spring football game. College baseball last night, 12th ranked Miami scored 10 in the third to beat FGCU 11-7. And also very quietly last night, Formula One is going to Vegas. There will be 3 F1 races in the States next year.
Think about that. We went like a decade without a race in this country.
Right.
Austin finally gets an F1 race. Then Miami gets a race, and now Vegas getting an F1 race.
It'll be November of 2023. It'll be on a Saturday night, and they will race right down the strip.
That's pretty cool.
That really is.
That's pretty cool.
Think about it. European soccer and F1 are like 2 of the hottest sports in America right now.
Think about the pictures that are going to come from that
Oh,
event.
it's going to be amazing.
going off as they're going by.
man.
The lights. It'll be in November, so the sun will set early.
And where is it in Miami, though? The parking lot of the Hard Rock Stadium.
Got to admit, though, it's a little harder to pull off in Miami with the way the city is, constructed.
We're talking F1 here, man.
Well, maybe they can work on it in Miami. Maybe they can remove it from the parking lot. There's a lot going on in that stadium and parking lot. They got the tennis going on right now.
Rolling Loud, one of the biggest.
The F1 race, and occasionally the Dolphins play there, and Canes. So that was
the starting five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Indy 500 F1 race in Vegas.
F1 Vegas. And it's not close. And I want to go to the Indy 500.
Yeah, come on.
No, but I actually want to go to the 500. It's on my bucket list.
I do too. Yes, mine as
well.
We
were set. We had tickets. Yep. Pandemic hit.
Right. Oh, I know. So it sounds cool, doesn't it?
It sounds really cool.
This sport's the rage right now. I'm waiting for it to get a network deal, if you know what I mean. Take that race off cable. Put that sucker on a network.
Slow down just a little bit over there.
Okay. All right. Hey, it's late November. Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What FGCU slam dunk contest are you talking about, man? I will say I went to a very long baseball game yesterday.
So you went?
No, I went to Red Sox Braves.
Oh, I thought you were talking about FGC Miami because that was 3.5 hours also.
Yeah,
It's almost impossible to go to an FGC baseball game and have it be less than 3 hours. And I've called them. All right. And there have been very few games in which we were out of there in less than 3 hours, including 2-1 games.
but
I gotta get. Do you have a Deros? Do you have his number?
Deros?
Yeah. Gotta find out when they're doing softball camps. It's not on their website. I can't DM him because he doesn't follow me on Twitter. You may have given me this. Let me double check. You may have given me that number before.
10-7 final of yesterday's Sox game. Game started at 1. 7th inning stretch was at 4:10. I was like, oh my God, I need to get out of here. We'll say though, in the first inning, first pitch Rafael Devers saw, he hit it like 30 feet over the Green Monster. It was a bomb. There were like 4 home runs over the Green Monster in that game. Raffy Devers.
Oh,
Story didn't play, right? He's still away.
No, he played.
He did play?
Yeah.
Because I think they had a kid like Sunday or Monday.
I think that was his first game. The Red Sox are loaded, man.
not like Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah, Toronto's also, that whole division is loaded. It's kind of insane how that division has kind of consistently been the best one in baseball for like,
The richest.
yeah.
Well, see, that's the biggest misnomer. People didn't realize that the Blue Jays can spend money, and they are spending money.
Good for the Blue Jays. They have some of the prettiest jerseys in baseball.
Who?
The Blue Jays.
Oh my God, what's the matter with you?
Their overall slate of jerseys. Oh, come on.
They're the second worst in the division.
Second worst jerseys?
In the division.
Well, you're comparing the Red Sox and the Yankees. Those are 2 iconic
And the Orioles.
jerseys.
Orioles, I think, are sharp as hell.
Oh, yeah. They got the best hat in baseball, I think.
The Rays are sucks. The
Rays
Blue
suck.
Jays suck.
No.
The
but
Indians, well, I don't know what they're going to look like now. The Indians jerseys were sweet. The Tigers are amazing.
better than the Blue Jays? Oh, come on. Those powder blue Blue Jays jerseys or like the dark blue ones.
Oh,
And just the J logo.
it's just awful.
It's awesome.
The Oakland A's jerseys are far
Yeah.
superior.
That's a good point.
The Cardinals, and I haven't gone to the NL yet. Pirates jerseys are better. Mets jerseys are better. I like the Mets colors though.
That's just New York. They
Well,
got-
I have a soft spot for blue and orange. I don't like the Gators blue and orange. I love Auburn's.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And the Mets colors are what they are because they took the blue from the Dodgers and the orange from the Giants.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this final day of March, Thursday the 31st. Thanks so much for being with us here on the Florida Sports Network. Bob Harig will join us in a little more than 30 minutes' time. The Masters gets underway a week from today. Will Tiger remain in the field? And remember, he has to take himself out. And the Masters is unlike most tournaments. I mean, Tiger can decide Wednesday night after the par 3 contest because there's not an alternate sitting waiting to take his spot. So if Tiger wants, he could continue to play practice rounds, continue to see how he feels. I mean, there is no, you've got to enter by this date. I
No, you're in.
Your tee time is your date and time that you have to decide by.
If you show up for it, basically.
Right. So, but Tiger historically has on the Friday before most tournaments, but especially majors, whenever it's been in doubt as to whether or not Tiger is going to play in a major, he usually makes the call one way or another the Friday before the major. And obviously that would be tomorrow.
And it looks very much like he's going to play. All systems go. He's had the caddy with him now for 3 or 4 walked rounds, 3 at his course in Jupiter, 1 at Augusta National.
Rory was commenting yesterday because he's playing this week, and Rory said, Tiger looked great. And you could tell Rory was getting giddy, like, oh, it'd be great to have him there. You know, it'd be so good for golf. It'd be great for the tournament. But Rory goes, I don't know how he feels. I just know how he looks. And he looks great. But somebody did say, Rory, I think it was, who said, I saw Tiger a month ago at his house. I guess, because Rory's obviously, he's got a place overseas, but he's got a place within like 20 minutes of Tiger. And Rory said, I saw him 4 weeks ago. He goes, he was not moving the way he's moving now. He goes, when I saw him a little over a month ago, he goes, I thought there was no way. No way. He looks very different now than he did a month ago.
Was this on the record?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just making sure that
Rory,
someone...
face. I mean, it was an interview. It was on camera. He put his name to it. Right. Not like those chicken blanks at Augusta during the week, who, sources say.
Yeah, Justin Thomas didn't even comment on what he looked like, and he played with him for the love of God.
Apparently, he's like his closest friend on tour. He's replaced Mark O'Meara. When Tiger was young, he had Mark O'Meara. And now that Tiger's the older guy on tour, he's got Justin Thomas.
But O'Meara, he could always beat. Now he's friends with someone that can beat him. It is very different than Tiger 2.0, which 3.0, 4.0, whatever one this is a different guy. And great for all of us and great for the tour. Let's hope that he plays next week.
Yeah, it'd be great. Not that the tournament needs it, but what the heck. And if he could actually be relevant, which is all that I would expect, by the way. Like, to me, that just relevant, in which it's like when you're showing Tiger, you're just not showing him in a ceremonial way. Could he actually be hitting shots on Saturday in which he's 4 back? Something like that. And you're like, well, you would show this shot if that was Scotty Scheffler or if that was Kevin Kisner. You would show this shot. That's what I'm wondering.
It is so unusual for me to think this way. But David, when you're sitting there saying, could he be 4 back? Well, if he's 4 back, then he's in contention to win. And that's the only way. As you're doing it, I'm trying to sit there and go, come on, David. Trying to give you all these reasons to tell you that this is a bunch of horse hockey.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is that if he's in the tournament, all of us, not just the most devout Tiger supporters, but all of us are sitting there scratching their head going, what happens if he just gets it together? It is Augusta after all.
Well,
he can chip and putt there any day.
Yeah. I mean, he can ham and egg his way. I mean, that's how he won. When he won his 5th Masters, he was ham and egging it for 3 hours. He was, I think, even par for the day. He was doing nothing. Everybody else was making the birdies and making the moves. But they were going up, they were going down. Tiger was having a U.S. Open round. And then
Spieth loses his mind.
Well, and Molinari hits it in the drink there. And then now, all right, game on. I mean, it was almost as if Tiger looked around and said, none of you guys want to win this thing, huh? Okay. I can take it from here. You want to make this a 6-hole tournament? You guys made a big mistake. We're even with 6 to play? Really?
Yeah, I can suck it up for 6 holes and get this to the finish line.
I can make 3 birdies coming in. I know I can make 3 birdies coming in. Can you? So we'll see in the next 24, 36 hours. But Bob Harig, who's written a book, by the way, we have had Bob on a lot over the years. He has been very good to us. He's with Sports Illustrated now. I don't ever remember us having Bob on when he's written a book. And he's written a book about Tiger and Phil.
Huh, funny. Been a lot of books about Phil recently.
Well, there seems to be. I guess maybe that PGA win kind of inspired a few people to go, I got 30 years worth of material here. I might want to use some of it. So Bob Harig will join us coming up roughly 30 minutes from now. Our big story, Bruce Arians. In case you missed it last night, Bruce Arians retired. 69 years old. He's done. He's been in football a long time. And if you go back 3 years, it's not shocking that Bruce Arians is 3 and done with the Bucs. It really isn't.
No, but if you go back 30 days, it is a little more shocking that Bruce Arians is done.
I think if you go back 3 days,
Yeah.
It is. If you go back to Monday. I know it's the NFL, and basically it's just gone to you-know-what and a handbag this week. But, man, or this offseason, but my goodness.
At some point, don't you think that the commissioners of not just the other big 3 sports, but of all the sports want to get together and go, is there anything we can do to these guys? Is there anything we can do to shut them up for a week?
I mean,
I don't care what week anymore. I don't care if it helps you out, if it helps, baseball guy, if it helps you, basketball, it helps you. I don't care, but is there something that can be done here? Because they're squashing everything that we have in this world.
I mean, if you're Major League Baseball, you're starting a week from today, and Tiger could be playing in the Masters on the same day. I mean, really? You going to get any juice out of this?
Well, that's on Major League Baseball.
I agree.
That's someone in the room going, guys, I know we think we're the most important thing, but that is the first day of Augusta.
Hey, we made the point once they pushed opening day off of March 31st. I mean, opening day was supposed to be today. And they would own the day today. Yeah, this Arians news would be out there, but by noon, that's it. It would be Major League Baseball. It'd be opening day, especially if Tiger's going to wait 24 more hours to make his announcement. I mean, that we'll say if today was opening day, if you're Rob Manfred, you try to call Tigers people and you go, can you just wait till Friday? Please. Can you give us a day? Could really use it. But we made the point, hey, did anybody take a look at the calendar? I mean, if you're going to wait to the 7th, you might as well wait to the 14th, to be honest with you. Either that or do it Wednesday, the 6th. I mean, something. But baseball starts in a week.
Right.
Woohoo!
We're going to be on, if Tiger's playing, what will dominate our show?
Oh, if Tiger's playing, it'll be Tiger and the Masters.
Bingo.
And I don't just mean our show.
No.
No, it will dominate the day in sports. I mean, what will Sports Center lead with?
Tiger.
Now, granted, they're covering the Masters.
It doesn't matter whether they are or not. Tiger Woods, you want clicks, you want views, you want watching.
Right.
Opening day of baseball or Tiger Woods.
And opening day of baseball is a big deal. And they're contractually tied to baseball. In a bigger way now, you could argue than ever before, they're actually going to carry more playoff games than ESPN has ever carried before.
But Tiger Woods is a superstar.
I mean, you could argue before the playoffs that opening day of baseball is the biggest day of the baseball season until the playoffs. I think it's bigger than the All-Star game. I think opening day of baseball is the biggest day for the sport until the playoffs.
I agree 100% because the All-Star game has lost all of its
Sure.
meaning that it had at one point.
Even though they still get their they get about as many people to watch the All-Star game as they do the Pro Bowl. It's close. I think the Pro Bowl now is winning slightly. And they're both exhibition games, so.
But the opening day, if you were to just take everybody's opening day ratings of what they are and pile them up, that number would be enormous.
Right. Plus attendance. As we've noted, first day of baseball, everybody goes. Day 2, not so much.
Be curious to see this year if opening day sold out everywhere.
I don't think it will be.
I don't either.
Not Miami. I'll tell you that.
Although, in fairness, when we start banging on baseball in a week about attendance and all that, I do think we have to go back to like 2019. All right. I mean, 2020, we didn't have attendance and we had a 60-game season. And then even last year, it wasn't the same.
Yeah, zip-tied
That's
seats.
fine. But typically everybody sells out opening day. Because of the 1 week delay, the lockout, I don't think we'll have 15 sellouts, if you know what I mean.
Well, it's certainly been noticeable in spring training attendance. I mean, I was at a game in Lakeland over the weekend, and the Phillies and Tigers both had plenty of regulars in the lineup. And remember, we're less than 2 weeks away from the start of the season. So the regulars are getting 3 at-bats, starting pitchers going to the 5th if possible, and that place was half empty. For Phillies Tigers, I mean, the Phillies, now Bryce Harper didn't play, but they had a lot of other regulars in the lineup. And down here in Southwest Florida where we are, I mean, there's been a lot more empty seats than there normally have been. Now we'll see if that carries over to the regular season. And was this all because of those negotiations, which didn't go all that well?
We will see. But we all know game 2, what that'll be like. It'll be empty. But will opening day sell out across Major League Baseball? It will be interesting to see, to say the very least.
Miller and Moulton. Our poll question, make sure you vote. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FL Sports Network, all on Twitter, or floridasportsnetwork.com. Bruce Arians is retired. Who do you think made that decision? Arians or Brady?
I say Arians.
I say Brady.
Boy, you're snarky this morning. Miller and Moulton, we thank you so much for listening, wherever you may be, on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
How many more games NHL has than NBA? NBA is down to between 5 and 7.
Look at that.
Because of the Olympic break.
Damn. Brandon Marcello, we've had him on the show. That's why I follow him. On March 30th, 2021, I weighed 324 pounds. 1 year later, I weigh 185 pounds.
Wow.
He lost 139 pounds.
How did he do it?
He said, Nutrisystems. He says, I decided enough was enough 1 year ago today. I wanted to be healthy, and as silly, it sounds comfortable. Thanks to Nutrisystems, not an ad, and walking and jogging 5 days a week, I've lost 139 pounds.
Yeah, good for him.
Holy cow.
What do you want to talk about here? Is there anything we haven't talked about? You want to jam in a short segment?
Not anything that we have missed. I mean, we've got this. We did the soccer. We've done the Brady. We've done the.
Well, we just
Tiger.
mentioned the soccer.
We could go there.
And yeah, talk about the because what, it's 6, 9, noon, and 3.
Yeah. When did it start? November?
I believe so. Trying to think if it's late October. Let me look it up. Looks like November 21st.
Well, remember how Mike and Mike did how many years together?
20.
Yeah. So we're not there yet.
Actually, Golick did over 20. I don't know if Greeny officially did 20 with Golick. I think it was like 18 or 19.
See how many runs the Cardinals put up?
In a spring training game?
I mean, yeah.
No.
Or wasn't it like a 15-run inning?
29, yeah. 29 runs.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. Bob Harig. We'll talk a little golf coming up in a little less than 20 minutes. Keith Smith to talk the association in our 8 o'clock hour. Roy Cummings, an hour or so from now, to talk about Bruce Arians retiring and Todd Bowles being named the head coach of the Bucs and being given a 5-year deal. And our poll question is, who do you think made that decision, Bruce Arians or Tom Brady?
Really need to see what the numbers are right now. I'm losing another poll question. It's another 2/3 to 1/3 in favor of Tom Brady right now.
We love our conspiracy theories. Snarky hosts usually make for snarky listeners. Mark, for the record, thinks Bruce Arians made the call to retire.
I do.
I think Tom Brady made the call. So that's our respective votes. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FL Sports Network, all on Twitter. FloridaSportsNetwork.com is where you can also go and vote.
We're in, David.
I beg your
We're
pardon?
in. We did it.
Oh, we did it. See what you did there. Yeah, the whole U.S. men's national team thing.
We're back.
We are. It's been a long 8 years. Yeah. Been a lot of personal growth, I think, for the U.S. men's national team, Mark.
I don't know how much personal growth is. They just got rid of everybody that was on the old team and started over.
Yeah. Went with the young guys.
5 holdovers from the team that lost to Trinidad and Tobago 4 years ago.
Well, if you failed as miserably as that group did, you could see where just about everybody would be out of a gig.
Absolutely. And now the World Cup doesn't come until, what, late October?
No. Late November.
Late November.
November 21st is the first day of the World Cup. It goes until December 18th. Remember, it's in Qatar or Qatar or
whatever one. Qatar. You want to call it Qatar? I don't care.
I go Qatar. So what do I know? But remember, it's summer there. It's going to be hot as you know what.
So basically a month from Thanksgiving till right before Christmas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's the heart of the football season.
The heart of the football season. Now, I will tell you, the one thing that the World Cup's got going for it, at least for me, is start times.
Yes.
6, 9, noon, and 3.
We'll have live soccer during this show.
You may lose me for a month, David. I'm just telling the audience right now, from late November to early December, the show may sound a little different.
It was a lot of fun doing the Olympics with you. You were here in body and half spirit, especially when the curling was on.
As long as there was no curling, I was fine. Curling, then you lost me.
Now, do you get into when it's like Costa Rica and China?
I'm all in.
Okay, so it doesn't matter who's on the TV screen, you're in.
And I have to be brutally honest. I will do my job. But from 10 a.m., the second half of those 9 o'clock games and those noon games, oh my goodness. I may not leave the house.
Remember, you're going to have to stay awake. It means no naps.
I don't take naps.
Okay, well, that's good.
I've been trying to figure out a way to interject a nap into my life, but I don't take naps.
We're going to have live goal calls. I mean, I might have to unleash my inner
No.
Hispanic.
What we're going to do is we're going to have something recorded, and then when there's a goal,
Oh,
we're going to play.
yeah, get that's
Right.
better. It's probably better.
Mm-hmm. Probably better? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely better.
Let's get the pros,
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I don't know. Felipe, I'll tell you this much. If I can get you to record a good goal call between now and then, we may play yours, but it's going to be something recorded.
This is the chance. Our boss, Marty, he has been trying to get us out on the road. And we've looked at him and we said, Marty, it sounds great. We do it the mornings. All right. It's really difficult to be somewhere in the mornings. Also, people are more likely to stop by on their way home. They're done with their work day, the whole deal. In the morning, people got places to go, things to do. They're in a hurry.
In Southwest Florida?
Well, or anywhere. Remember,
they're finishing breakfast at like 5:30, 5:45. They're the height of their day at 6 in the morning.
Well, so anyway, I've been able to convince him that being on the road in the morning is not necessarily a great idea. But if we're going to have 6 a.m. World Cup matches, I mean, Mark, we may just be up and down I-75. By then, we'll probably be on the East Coast. I mean, there's all sorts of possibilities. This could be a road show. I mean, supposedly we're getting an RV.
I'm all in for 6 a.m. World Cup shows at bars. Get me one with the English fans.
Yep.
Get me one with the German fans. Get me one with any South American team. I am all in.
So this will be a little different World Cup, November 21st to December 18th, and the U.S. is in it. For how long? Well, we'll see. In fact, that's not a bad poll question. Remember this right before the World Cup starts. What will take place first? The U.S. men eliminated or the SEC championship game?
Ooh.
Because that's right around the line of demarcation. You've got your first 3 matches you try to get out of group play. So essentially, what do you think we'll get out of group play? Did I read correctly the draw? Well, no, because you got 3 teams that still have to qualify.
Right. Yeah, we still have the Costa Rica has to play New Zealand in one of those playoff games. So we've not even determined the field yet.
Because I read something about there's something tomorrow involving the World Cup.
I mean, think about Thanksgiving this year. We're going to have football and football.
Exactly. A full day.
A full football day.
A full day. And it's on Fox, by the way. Fox is the World Cup.
I thought it was NBC. No, I'm thinking of the Olympics.
Fox is the World Cup. Got to trust me on this one.
Here, Felipe, I want to just give you a little bit of advice. I don't know if you're aware. David does a little side work with a couple of networks.
Yeah, I'm aware.
When you want to argue with him over NBA starters, not over what network has what event. If he's wrong, which it happens occasionally, keep that feather in your cap, use it when needed. Because we all need that from time to time. But most of the time, I'd trust him on those.
Because what we're trying to do, because of the time difference, believe it or not, there may be the possibility of a guest or 2. And I've had conversations with Tom Rinaldi about, hey, when you're more than halfway across the world and it's 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the evening for you, what do you say? Got some time on your hands?
So, David, you were right. On Friday at noon Eastern, the draw for the group stage will take place in Qatar.
So they are this Friday, tomorrow.
Correct.
Right. They're going to
noon Eastern.
So we're going to find out tomorrow, what group we're in and whether or not, Mark, every year, this is my favorite. It's my favorite. During that show, what will happen?
The group of death.
That's right. 4 teams will be in the group of death.
So basically, they're just sticking some of these teams in groups.
Right. They'll do it like the
New
play-in.
Like New Zealand, Costa Rica are.
And that's how it'll be. New Zealand / Costa Rica, winner gets in whatever group. It'll be like the play-in, Mark. It's like going from 68 to 64.
I'm fine with that.
So the draw is tomorrow.
I'm fired up.
Hot steaming deal. I don't know if the U.S. has ever been in the group of death before.
Gotta hope if you're the U.S., you get in the group with Qatar.
Really?
Yeah, because they always get the easy one. They usually put the host team under the chance to advance.
Well, that's true. And goodness knows we need all the help we can get.
Every single bit.
Bob Harig, talking a little golf. Masters a week from today. He's written a book about Tiger and Phil. He's next.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month.
The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Bob Harig, Sports Illustrated, by the way.
Okay. I got tickets for today's Red Sox Twins game for $6 a piece. Got a lot of text, actually. Let's get Bob up here.
Are you going?
Am I going? No.
It's baseball.
Exactly.
Oh, come on. Have you ever seen that Geico commercial? Where it's Andres Canto commentating a chess match?
Yeah, right. And he does
¡Qué
that.
tensión! ¡Viene! ¡Viene, viene, viene! ¡Go! Oh,
We were on the air in our first act when he let it rip the 20-something seconds goal, and then he followed right back up and did it again. And we just queued it up and played it.
oh, the World Cup is gonna rule this year. We're only watching it on Telemundo. Sorry.
Don't apologize to me.
Every time I play FIFA with my friends on the PlayStation, we always switch it to Espanol. You gotta.
Well, I don't, because I like to be able to know which team they're talking about.
Mohamed Salah.
So I grew up watching the fights on the two Spanish channels in the New York metropolitan area, channels 41 and 47. And I loved watching the fights. The fights were great Friday and Saturday nights.
Like boxing?
Yeah, the fights.
Yeah.
But I never knew who was winning based on the announcers. I'm watching them in black and white. So, you couldn't really tell the color of the trunks and what have you. So I had no idea. But I loved watching the fights. They all went the distance. They beat the hell out of each other.
A lot of text, more text we've had in a while, but I can't text the guy back. Broadcast at the physician's office. Plenty of morning visitors. Quest Diagnostics would be another good place.
There you go. We have the middle segment.
The 8 o'clock segment.
You can get through all.
We'll get to all of these then. Oh, that's funny.
There was a regular season baseball game, the Texas Rangers scored 32 runs against Baltimore 5-6 years ago.
I remember that. Well, no, that wasn't 5 or 6. I was like
2015, maybe?
No, I think that was
You think it was a lot earlier?
I think it was the OOs.
I'm old, so everything seems like 5-6 years ago.
But I know what you're talking about, though. I remember that. And it was in Baltimore.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. You've been to that stadium, right? Camden?
Oh, Camden? Yeah, I was there
love Camden.
right after it opened, too.
It's beautiful.
But I've been a few times.
Been there once. I loved it.
Yeah, those pots have kind of ended any group of death.
God, I hate it. Hate it. Love the group of death. Especially since England was almost always in it. And they just There's nothing like the English media and fans bitching about England in the World Cup. You call him Bob?
Yeah, I'm about to.
All right.
God, my scheduled tweets are flying through.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Talk a little NBA and Tampa Bay Bucs with Bruce Arians retiring in our next hour. But we welcome once again Bob Harig, Sports Illustrated, great golf writer who's also penned a book, Tiger and Phil, Golf's Most Fascinating Rivalry. You can follow Bob on Twitter at Bob Harig, Harig. Bob, it's David and Mark. Once again, how are you?
Hey, guys. Good morning. How are you doing?
Well, we're doing great. Listen, we've had you on a lot over the years. You've been very good to us. I don't know if we've ever had you on when you had just authored a book. So we ask every author the same question. Why?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I ask myself that same question. Yeah, when you're in the middle of it, there's that old saying, it's hell to write, but it's great to have written. You know, I mean, so like it's great when it's done, but it sure was a struggle while it was going on. But I just kind of thought that was a topic that surprisingly to me had not been delved into. And, you know, maybe it's just because there's such a disparity in their records. You know, Tiger's clearly got the better record than Phil, better than anybody that's played in his era. Not even close. But if you think back to, you know, pretty much the last 25 years, those were the two guys in golf, and their careers really did intersect quite a bit. You know, they were the top two guys throughout the early 2000s. Phil actually won 4 of his 6 majors with Tiger in the hunt. You know, Tiger had a great chance to win every one of those. And also I take it all the way back to their youth. Phil, I've been saying Phil was Tiger before Tiger. We all know, most of us know that follow golf, Tiger was incredible as a kid. You know, he's a great golfer from a very early age and won all kinds of trophies as a junior and an amateur, but so did Phil. He was just as prolific of a winner growing up in San Diego, and actually you might argue had the better amateur career in terms of what he did against pros. You know, he actually won a tour event as a pro. Last guy to do that actually in 1991, the last amateur to win a pro event. He was in 1991, won the Tucson Open when he was a junior in college, and actually returned to college and won the NCAA title the following year. So anyway, it was I thought a very rewarding project. Kind of honored to try and tackle it, and it's funny, you know. I wish I had more time because they still continue to be relevant.
To say the least. Bob Harig, Sports Illustrated, author of Tiger and Phil, Golf's Most Fascinating Rivalry.
And Bob, on that note, when did the rivalry become friendly in your estimation? Because obviously Tiger lived us against everybody type of mentality for so long, and as I've called it, whether it's Tiger 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, he's a nicer guy now, or at least so it appears. When do you think Tiger and Phil, the rival became a friendly rivalry.
Well, I think you said that well. You know, Tiger, us against the world. He was never going to let anybody close, and that led to the friction that there was between them for a long time. It was quite icy, you know. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure they have ever really been totally friendly. I think when it began to thaw when Tiger was going through his injuries in the 2015 time period when, you know, he had the back problems for a good year. Remember, he had these chipping problems. He couldn't, you know, he chipped like we did, and was really struggling. And a lot of it had to do with his back issues. And Tiger later disclosed that Phil reached out to him to offer his help, which would have never happened 10 years prior. So that was clearly a thawing of their relationship. And then, unlike when they were playing together in a Ryder Cup in 2004, and I actually have an entire chapter on that whole week because it was just so bizarre, really sort of epitomized their relationship, which wasn't great. But in around 2016, they started collaborating on the Ryder Cup. They were actually, they were on the same team, actually. They were trying to help. They were tired of the U.S. losing. And so they put their heads together and talked strategy, and they were texting all the time. And, you know, Tiger was an assistant in 16. Phil had sort of put himself out there after the 2014 Ryder Cup where he called out Tom Watson. They were very helpful to one another through that time. And then in 18, when they had the match, you know, that to me, their relationship got better for commercial purposes. You know, they saw an ability to cash in, and that's what that was. You know, the Vegas match where Phil won $9 million. You know, it was winner take all, but you can bet Tiger got paid too. And that was they were supposed to be a bunch of those. But there only ended up being one more with Tiger involved, and that was the COVID relief one in 2020. And then that concept sort of fizzled. So I don't know that they were buddy after that. You know, obviously there wasn't a whole lot of reason to have a lot of fighting. They were very complimentary of each other when they won their last majors. And then this latest thing that's gone on with Phil, they're clearly on opposite sides of that. While they've not called each other out or anything, you know, Tiger has sided with the PGA Tour, and Phil, as we know, you know, was pretty open and, you know, quite controversial in his remarks about the PGA Tour, which have led to the situation that he's in right now. So, you know, they're clearly not on the same side of that issue. So that's why I said, you know, there might be more to be written about these two as we keep going here.
Bob Harig, Sports Illustrated, author of Tiger and Phil, Golf's Most Fascinating Rivalry. Follow Bob on Twitter at Bob Harig, Harig. We have wondered, will Tiger extend an olive branch to Phil? That we think Phil needs a friend. And will Tiger, you know, like I think it was Rory who said, you know, hey, he screwed up. We all screw up. You know, we'll welcome him back and what have you. And no one else really seconded that. And I just wonder, you know, could Tiger be the guy, and would he, you know, at any point just say, listen, you know, Phil was wrong and we're on opposite sides of this, or maybe he's on our side, but he just pressed it too far. But hey, come on now. He's Phil Mickelson. He's one of the 15 greatest golfers of all time. You know, he served his punishment. We got to back off. Do you think Tiger will help Phil, who clearly is going to need it for the rest of this year?
Yeah, you know, it's a great question, and I think it would be really a great gesture on Tiger's part, but I don't see it happening. I'd be surprised if he did that. It'll be interesting. I guess maybe I should say, let's see what happens when he's asked. I don't see him just going out on his own doing that. Let's say if he does play the Masters next week and he does a pre-tournament interview. Phil clearly will come up. How does he handle it then? That would be the chance. And I'm not so sure he will, although he might say something along, just sort of tame lines just to not create more controversy. Look, Tiger could have done that by now. Look, there's some other players, obviously not quite as prominent or as loudly as Rory said, who have said, hey, look, there's a way back for Phil. He's meant too much to the game. Now, maybe they were just being nice. I think there's a lot behind the scenes. I think a lot of people were quite upset with what he said. They were, there's a segment of players who felt that maybe Phil got what was coming, that he's been a little bit too cocky or, smartest man in the room type guy for too long. And maybe this is sort of what he had coming. If Tiger were to do that, and look, one thing, if they wanted, they could make it about the media, because Phil came back out and said he was, the main comments that got him in trouble, he thought were off the record. And, while I fully believe that he never said those words, I fully also believe that he thought he was talking freely without going to be quoted. Nobody says what he said with that kind of language and expects it to be printed or is thinking it's going to be. And there's a lot of journalism, 101 in there. But I think two things can be true. I think it's very possible he never said this is off the record, but it's also very possible he thought it was because of the way he was talking. And so if these guys wanted to make it about that, that would certainly be something. I think it's one of the reasons that Rory said what he said. I think he came back and realized, look, Phil didn't mean for that to be public. And we all say things in private that we wouldn't want to be public, especially public figures like that. So, but to answer your question, I only think Tiger broaches that if asked, and then it's going to be very interesting to hear what he says.
Well, I guess, will he be asked? And I only mean that is, what do you think? You think he's playing? It certainly seems, you don't fly to Augusta. You don't bring your caddy in unless you're really close. We think he's playing. Do you?
I'm much more inclined to think that now. I mean, if you'd asked me seriously a week ago today, last Thursday, I would have said absolutely not. Because there really hadn't been that many rumblings that he was ramping it up. And it's different hitting balls on the range and playing in a golf cart. Even Tiger's admitted that. He said, I can do that. I can hit balls. I can play in a cart. But it's a big difference coming out here and playing and walking and getting ready and all that. Now, it doesn't mean he wasn't doing it, but typically you'd hear something. And there really wasn't much chatter about that. But now the fact, there was reports that came out that he was seen playing at the Medalist. His caddy wasn't with him. I think that's been misreported. Rob McNamara, who's like Tiger's best friend, he kind of is a confidant of his. He looks a little bit like LaCava from afar, and so from Joe LaCava's caddy. So I think people mistook him for Joe. But in any case, he's been seen playing, and then of course he goes to Augusta, and I just don't think you go there if you're not trying really hard to play, especially the week before. You're going to be seen by other players. It's definitely going to get out. So that to me really elevated this, and now I wouldn't be surprised if he played, but a week ago I would have been. And then you throw in everything that we know, how badly damaged his foot was, that walking Augusta National is no easy task when everything's going perfectly. It's a strenuous walk. It's part of the challenge of playing that course. You got to be in good shape. It's very hilly. And look, just, it's hilly, but for him, walking downhill's no bargain either. And that place has a lot of undulation and, but, obviously it would be great if he could do it. And I hope that if he does, people, back off on the expectations. I mean, let's be real here. It's been a long time since he's competed, and just getting out there, I think, would be incredible.
we agree. Making the cut, which we think he will, because we think he could ham and egg it around that course to make a cut. But to be hitting meaningful shots on the weekend, that would be remarkable. Bob, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck with Tiger and Phil, golf's most fascinating rivalry. Bob Harig is Sports Illustrated. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Bob Harig, Harig. Bob, thanks for doing this.
Hey, no, thanks for having me, guys. Be well.
Safe travels, Bob. Bob Harig, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
A little information there on the caddy thing. That was news to, I think, to us.
Right, because it has been widely reported that he flew, and specifically it's been reported that he flew LaCava in. And so, Bob, who's obviously very connected, 30 plus years. So, well, Rory said a month ago when he visited Tiger, he goes, no way he was playing. No way. He was struggling getting around. And then it was just yesterday, Rory said, man, he looked great.
And what was the comment yesterday that you heard players make? If it's just a matter of Tiger managing pain,
right?
We've all seen him do that before. And I think that needs to be said again. I think that's a very big part of this, that not every athlete in every sport can play with pain. We know Tiger can manage pain.
He's Superman to them. I mean, it really is. The reverence of which this generation speaks of him, which you would expect. But, remember, it's been a long time since we've heard a generation speak about Jack. So, for us of a certain age, we don't remember this. And we're fortunate that Tiger's still relevant, and we're getting a chance to see and hear it. Miller and Moulton.
Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
You
You're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So on the Will Smith, Chris Rock front, so he does the 2 shows in Boston last night. He
addressed it, but didn't make any jokes.
No.
Well, he put out a statement apparently.
Apparently that's not true.
Oh.
Rock.
Oh, hold on, you're muted.
Yeah, it was being reported last night that the 2 have not spoken, by the way. There's been no reconciliation. I think he did apologize.
Try turning it on your end. Hold on. Oh, what the hell? Dude, are you kidding me? Okay. When I mute it here, the mute light turns on. But then when I try to press it to unmute you, the light doesn't turn on. What the hell just happened?
Okay, do we need to switch microphones?
Possibly.
Well, executive decision needs to be made. Are you saying his microphone's not working?
It's just stopped working, yes. Try it out.
Hello.
No.
Hello. Jesus. There's nothing really. Richard's not here, is he?
No, he's not even the engineer, so.
Oh, I think mic 3 works.
Does this microphone work?
I believe so, yes.
That one works.
Mark, speak into this microphone real quick.
Felipe, did you do this on purpose so you'd get on camera?
No.
Is his mic working?
Yeah. Mic 3 works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Might have to. There you go.
There we go.
All right, we're back in 10.
No talk back, no cough buttons on this. Wonderful.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home for those of you in the 239, the final hour of Miller and Moulton. If you're in Lake City and surrounding areas, and by the way, be careful, the storms, they are going to be nasty today. For those of you in Tampa, St. Pete, and Port Charlotte and Venice, we thank you so much for listening to Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Roy Cummings will join us in a little more than 35 minutes to talk about the big story of the day. It occurred, well, roughly 12 hours ago. Bruce Arians retiring as head coach of the Bucs and retiring from coaching. Todd Bowles given a 5-year contract to replace him. And since we were in a somewhat snarky mood a little before the show started today, we came up with this poll question. Bruce Arians retired. Who made the decision? Bruce Arians or Tom Brady?
Boy, David, you look good.
What do you mean?
I mean, it's the first time I've seen you without having to look through plexiglass in about 6 months. My microphone died, and this one doesn't sound like it's doing much better because it sounds like it's popping in and out, but that's all right. My microphone died during the commercial break, so I had to move to mic 3.
Actually, the mic's working fine. It does sound a little differently, though. It sounds a little thinner, a little tinnier. Okay, but it actually is working fine. All right. But yes, we are now broadcasting from a different angle. So, and if you're following us on Twitch, you can see young Felipe kind of, sort of in the background. Miller and Moulton. Keith Smith, kind enough to join us once again. He covers the NBA for, well, a variety of places. Spot Rack, NBA front office show, and he is a part of a Celtics blog. And so, Keith, I knew you would be paying close attention last night. Keith, it's David and Mark once again. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Follow Keith on Twitter, by the way. It's very simple. Keith Smith, NBA, Keith Smith, NBA.
Keith, I just want to start out, obviously we could have took this from a Heat perspective. It was a great win for them on the road. They hadn't been playing that well, but from a loss standpoint, how big was it for Boston? They'd been playing great. This was a big home game that they could really have a good shot at trying to get that 1 seed. How big of a loss in this estimation was it for the Celtics by you, Keith?
Yeah, the seeding part of it, I don't know that that's as big a loss because it still seems like the 1 seed or even the 2 seed in the East. I think everybody's got an eye on maybe trying to avoid Brooklyn if they can in that first round series. But this is the kind of games you have to win in the playoffs. That's the disappointment for the Celtics. They had been really, there's no other way to put it. They'd been rampaging the league. They weren't just beating teams; they were blowing everybody out. And then to get this kind of game where it just kind of didn't go their way. Miami was very physical, played great defense, and then the Celtics reverted back into some of the bad habits from the early months. So that part was disappointing for sure.
Well, and the Heat, just when you're about ready to put a fork in them, they're falling apart. They're arguing with one another. That culture, Keith, which sometimes is overlooked, sometimes it's mocked. I mean, you saw it last night, and Jimmy Butler, who some organizations can't handle, Jimmy Butler, when need be, was the best player on the floor last night.
Yeah, he absolutely was. And it's one of those things, I think, at this age with the miles on him, expecting Jimmy Butler to be that guy for even 70 games is asking a lot. But if you can surround him with enough talent, which is what I think they've done there in Miami, is, hey, we need you to be the best guy on the floor 40 times a year in the regular season. He can still do that for sure. And then, Kyle Lowry will pick it up for, 20 some games. And then we'll figure it out for the last 20, but whether it's Tyler Hero or Bam Adebayo or whoever. And that's the thing is they've done a really good job crafting and building that roster. And I think that's important. Are there, issues and holes for sure, but that's with every team, but they do a good job working around those limitations.
Did last night change your feelings about Boston as a playoff team at all?
No, not really. I think it was just one of those, they were due for a game like that. It had been a while since they had played a poor one. I know they lost the night or a couple nights ago in Toronto, but that was a very limited roster that they took into that game. But so I think that's all it was. It'll be important to see how they bounce back here with only a handful of games left. But I think some of the things that we thought might be problems still are, but some of the things they do really well are good. And there is something we take them from when you play really poorly, which the Celtics did. They shot poorly. They turned it over a lot, where you're still right there with a minute to play. That's something you can feel heartened in as well.
Talking a little NBA with Keith Smith, who covers the league. You can follow him on Twitter at Keith Smith NBA. Listen, when the Celtics were rampaging the league, the first half of it, though, was a really soft schedule. But then they started beating good teams and beating them badly. All right. Did the Heat expose anything last night, or was it really just, the 75th game of an NBA season, or did the Heat show, hey, the playoffs could be a little bit different?
Yeah, I think Miami is a difficult matchup for the Celtics because what Boston does better than most teams is they ramp up the physicality. They're going to play hard. They're going to hit you. They're going to put their hands on you. They're going to make you really uncomfortable. Miami is content to, hey, not even content. Let me rephrase. They embrace that. Yeah, let's go. Let's turn this into a rock fight that's an ugly mess. They want that too. And I think that's the thing the Celtics maybe weren't necessarily ready for, because a lot of the teams that they've been beating, as they amped up the physicality, those teams shrunk. They took a step back, and that allowed Boston to really kind of pull away. In this game, it was they were matched. So I think that's the thing that they're going to have to be aware of here going into the postseason is, all right, you're going to have to find another way, because a team like Miami, maybe a team like Milwaukee, they're not going to shrink from this physical game that you want to bring to the floor. So you have to find another way to win.
All right, Keith, we're talking about the top of the conference, but obviously one of the things everybody's worried about is Brooklyn. Now, the Cavs had their moments, but, Atlanta was in the conference final a year ago. Is there anything there at the bottom? Is there any of the teams that are in this play-in outside of Brooklyn that, hey, if Atlanta gets in, they could be scary, or is it just a different team this year?
Atlanta could be scary if they get hot. Trae Young's one of those guys that can almost win a game or two in a series by himself. And when you have a guy like that, that always gives you at least a little bit of a chance. But they don't have John Collins, and it doesn't sound like they're going to have him in the postseason. So that's worrisome for them. Their defense has really regressed in a major way. So teams are finding it pretty easy to score on them. So I don't know. Charlotte, they're in a little bit of the same boat. They can get hot. They can hit a whole bunch of shots. But at the bottom of the conference, it's the Nets because of who they are with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. I mean, they're just a team that is, they've gone through a whole mess of stuff this regular season. So now, as we get into the postseason, they're finally starting to become more of the team we thought they might be. And that's, kind of a scary proposition for those teams that are looking at the 1 or 2 seed.
Before we head west, are we all overlooking the defending champs in Milwaukee, who very quietly went into Philly earlier this week and was a big game, every bit as big as Heat Celtics last night, and they beat the Sixers and beat them down the stretch? Are we overlooking the defending champs?
Yeah, I think we are a little bit. I think what happens is we don't want to turn to what's next and what's shiny and new. And for a long time, that was Miami and Chicago at the top of the conference. Then it was Philly made the big trade for James Harden. Then it was the Celtics coming along. And all along, the Bucs were just kind of doing what they do. And I think the big thing Milwaukee has figured out over the last couple of seasons is, hey, winning 60-plus regular season games, that looks great. But if you're not ready to go in the playoffs, it doesn't really matter very much. And last year, they put it all together in a way where it was, hey, we're going to experiment. We're going to rest guys when needed. We're not going to push to get every regular season win. And they've carried that over to this year. Now what you're seeing is that team's getting healthy, and they're really figuring it out going into this final stretch.
Top 3 teams in the West all dealing with injuries. I mean, is this just a matter of when we get healthy, how it shakes out? Or are what the Suns doing worth taking note, and it's really their conference?
Yeah, the Suns are a tier apart from everybody else in the conference. And then I'd even say the Grizzlies are in a tier of their own at 2. And then it gets a little tighter the rest of the way. But the Suns they're good. They're good. They're deep. They know exactly who they are. They know exactly how they want to play. I've become fond of saying you have to beat them in the first 43 minutes because you're not beating them in the last 5 minutes, because they'll out-execute any team. They can defend. They can play a bunch of different styles where they can play big, they can play small, they can play fast, they can play slow. And there's no player in the league better than Chris Paul of in-game diagnosing, all right, this is what we need, this is how we need to play, than him. So they're going to be really tough. If you had to make me pick any one single team to win the championship right now, I would pick Phoenix. It wouldn't be by an overwhelming margin, but I would pick Phoenix.
Keith, the final question. if the Warriors get Curry back, which are expected to, they could enter as the 4 seed. It could be a very difficult playoff run, but do you think they have a championship run in them or not?
I think they do, but they have to get him back, as you said, and they have to be healthy throughout the playoffs because he is such a player that everything really revolves around him in their system. And we've seen over the last few years, including right now, they just aren't the same team without him. And I know that sounds, simple to say. Superstars is out of the lineup. But when you look at it, it really is. They have built so much of what they do around his unique skill set that it just makes everything harder for every other player on that roster. But you get him back. Draymond Green looks healthy. Klay Thompson is back. Yeah, they might have a run in them, but they got to try to avoid Phoenix as long as you can, because then hopefully maybe you get them in the Western Conference Finals when you're now running, you're feeling pretty good and your rhythm is there. But if you got to play them in the second round, that's going to be really tough.
He's Keith Smith. He covers the NBA, Spot Rack, NBA Front Office Show, and he also does the Celtics blog. You can follow Keith on Twitter at Keith Smith NBA. Keith Smith NBA. Keith, thanks so much for doing this again. We appreciate it. Safe travels.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Keith Smith, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton. He was also one eye on the U.S. men's national team last night. You follow him on Twitter at all NBA, all NBA, all NBA. Some soccer notes. All NBA, all NBA, all NBA.
I didn't even pay as much attention to the soccer as I should have last night. I was convinced we weren't going to lose 7-0.
Right. Scoreless at the half also is a good sign.
Yeah.
You don't think you're going to have one of those Cardinals 15-run 8th innings like they had last night in spring training baseball. Miller and Moulton. Roy Cummings will join us coming up in about 20 minutes' time. Some great texts throughout the show. We will read them next.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I don't know what's going on with the mic. His mic just died. We went to commercial. I went to turn it back on. Nothing. I don't know what to tell you guys. But now you get to see my beautiful face. So there you go. I don't even need to go to the other room. I'm right here. Philly is uploaded to Tinder. Y'all want to make a Tinder profile for me? That's cool. Be my wingmen. You know, I Not a wingman, wingmen. I have a whole armada of wingmen.
Women just walking up and handing them bras during the show. I was on acid in the front row. All right.
Raj has never seen it either.
Am I rolling a doobie?
I wonder if Philly even knows what a doobie is.
A joint, bro, or a blunt
Actually, the first answer was correct.
joint. Yeah. I don't know.
I went across the hall to talk to Raj to see if he's ever had a microphone completely go out in the studio before.
Let me guess. He said no.
Nope, he's never seen that one before.
Just our luck.
Is the light on in there when you turn it on?
The mute.
No. Is when you press on.
No, it's off.
That's what I'm saying. So I think that part of the board might have shorted out
Maybe.
because I don't think it's getting any power.
Could be it.
I don't know. Yes, Raj did traffic forever down here. Raj has been a staple in Southwest Florida radio for 20 years.
Raj is the man.
Solid dude.
Loves Purdue, which is very sad.
Well, he went to
for him.
school there.
Oh, he went to school. Oh, okay.
I mean, he graduated from Purdue. There's a reason he likes Purdue.
I don't know. I didn't go to the
Yeah,
University of Miami.
We
but I live
understand
right
that.
next
It's,
to the
it's
University
different.
of
It's
Miami.
different for people like you.
If I could pull out 80K out of my ass, I would.
I need you to start thinking one other thing too. When there are 90 good seconds, like a rant from David or me, you need to write it down because I'm going to go back and find them and I'm going to put them on TikTok.
Oh, TikTok. Ooh.
TikTok.
TikTok.
What's going on TikTok?
TikTok. Are you hearing this?
I hate all of you.
My daughter will be so impressed if we end up on TikTok.
We're on TikTok. Well, I am.
Is your daughter anything like you?
Exactly.
Oh, man. I need to meet her. That's hilarious.
Doesn't like sports though.
Although now
Yeah.
the guy she's with, he's sports on. He watches more sports than I do. In fact, I've had talks with her going, you do know you can take the clicker back.
Mark,
Yeah.
I also need to meet your son.
You will. He'll be in town in a couple of weeks.
What would the new Miller and Moulton Studios be called? Whatever the sponsor's name is.
Got that right.
Technically, we're in Estero, technically, right?
We are.
Yeah.
Estero, Florida.
33928, I believe.
Yes.
Because I'm 6'7", just up the road, believe it or not.
I'm 33913.
Thank
You're
you.
in Fort Myers.
Oh, really? What's the difference? I'm not.
No. It's a fair question. What is the difference?
What's the difference?
Uh,
One's Fort Myers, one's Estero. They're different cities. One's the village of Estero, one's the city of Fort Myers.
In the numbers, how can
The zip code?
How can you identify the difference via numbers?
I just know what Fort Myers zip codes are from spending so much time doing mailings with the Everblades.
I feel you.
Yeah, I don't. Is there a Fort Myers zip code that goes 339 and then starts with a 2?
I don't know.
Yeah. So
technically, the campus of FGCU is in Fort Myers.
it
not
is.
Yes.
The
And it was a
school is
big
in-
and it was a big deal that and it's not city of Fort Myers either, but it's in Fort Myers Incorporated or
Yes.
however that works.
Yes.
You're in the heart. Klecko, you're downtown.
All right. Vamos.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Roy Cummings to join us coming up in about 15 minutes' time. Big story. Bruce Arians retired last night. That's it. 69 years old, 3 years with the Bucs. I'm done. I'm out of here. Todd Bowles gets a 5-year deal. The story that the Bucs are pushing is that Arians told Brady shortly after Brady announced he was coming back. That Arians said, well, then I'm going to retire and Todd will get the job and, good luck. And I guess Bruce stuck around for a couple of weeks to handle media and, things like that.
One question from a fan early in the show was, as a diehard Tampa fan, so my only question is, why not Leftwich?
I never thought it was going to be Leftwich. I mean, Bowles has been his guy far longer. Brought Bowles with him immediately to Arizona. And so I always thought it was going to be Bowles. Bowles had been a head coach before. Of the two, I thought he was going to set Todd up. The other thing was that Leftwich came much closer to getting a job this offseason than Bowles did. We're led to believe that Leftwich was right there for the Jacksonville job.
Could have had the Jacksonville job.
Now, they say they never offered it to him. He may have talked his way out of the offer when he said, yeah, this guy sitting here, I want no part of him. That can sometimes get the offer taken off the table.
So we were soliciting text earlier in the show, and you can text the show at any time. The keyword is FSN Radio. FSN Radio, it's all one word. You text that to 21,000. Once you've done that once, you're in. And we have people saying, hey, thanks, Bruce, for changing the culture. Just as simple as that. I think you could thank Tom for that.
Yeah.
Because the culture hadn't changed in Bruce's first year.
Well, they went 7-9. They were 7-7, and then they lost the 2 late games. I thought, though, that we like to say sometimes you need an adult in the room. And even though Lovey was an adult, it was a bad product under Lovey. And it looked as if Lovey had kind of lost his touch when he had his 2-year run with the Bucs. And so I will say, I got the impression from Arians, if Brady had not picked Tampa Bay, that they were going to make major changes and they were going to make it very quickly because Arians had no time for this. I didn't come back to go 7-9.
This person also, yesterday we were talking about Philly and trying to pick up girls and date and how hard it is now. He did. I just have to recognize this text from yesterday, which said, you needed kahunas to call the house phone when the dad picked up. And I think that line is important. As Philly is, I want to meet a woman. There was nothing tougher than being 15, 14 years old.
Right.
Dialing those numbers up and the dad answering.
Right. Hello?
Excuse me, Mr. So-and-so. May I speak to whomever?
Right. Is Charlene there? Right.
Who's this?
That separates a man from a boy.
You couldn't hang up.
Right.
You were stuck.
Right. Charlene, there's some guy, or he might go, some boy named Tony on the line.
Yep. And you're just sitting there going, no.
Come on, dude. Give me a chance. Just trying to talk to your daughter in the hallway after third
I was
period.
never afraid of the dad on the phone. I don't know why. I don't know if I had a voice that, because I had no problem when they answered, just going, is because they were all named Jennifer. Is Jennifer there?
It's true. Jennifer and Heather, very popular names when we were growing up. Very popular names.
Speak to Jenny. It's one or the other. 867-5309. You guys know the drill.
Well played. Well played. I never had a problem with parents either. Never. Don't know why. Now, I had problems with their daughters, but I never had problems with the parents.
Yeah, I might be the one that, when whatever happened, I liked him. He was a very polite boy. Well, not to me, he wasn't.
Dads, in fact, were always like, I could watch sports with him. What's wrong with him? Well, a lot of things, Dad, but thanks for asking.
Also, you were talking earlier in the show, David, of how our boss, Marty, wants us out. Wants us out. Wants the road show. Let's go. Let's get these guys out in the dark at 5 a.m.
Right. I'm getting them an RV. I'm paying to wallpaper the sucker. Let's go.
So we have a suggestion that says broadcast at the physician's office. Plenty of morning visitors.
Wow.
This show brought to you by Quest Diagnostics. Please make an appointment for your blood work. It'll save you time in the long run.
Make sure you have 2 forms of identification. Quest Diagnostics, proud sponsors of Miller and Moulton on this cool Thursday morning, wherever you may be.
It's so much better than a breakfast spot.
Well, it's true. That's true. Certainly more regional. That is for sure. But,
those are the companies we need to be going after. David.
Yeah. Bruce Arians retired. Who made that decision? Arians or Brady? Which story are you believing? Mark is believing Bruce Arians made the decision. I think it's more Brady. That's just me. I'm always a believer in a good conspiracy theory.
Audience on your side, by the way. Once again, 2/3 of the vote going with you. I have not had a poll question right in a month.
I am shocked that the numbers are that big. Even for as much as people love a good conspiracy theory, I am surprised that the numbers are that big.
I mean, Brady's been on Instagram with a long post just
Right.
thanking Arians up and down.
Right. Mm-hmm. I have to admit, I don't give a you-know-what about any of the Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, goodbyes, apologies, all that stuff. I think it's all crap. I really do.
You think it's all crap.
All
so you
crap.
think everybody that goes publicly to
Yes.
thank someone's just a horrific liar and it's a bunch of crap.
No, I just think it's all crap. No, you do that privately. If you're doing it publicly, it's all for image, and I think it's garbage.
It's not as genuine.
Well, that's just how I take it. But then again, I'm a cynic. I'm snarky.
No!
I know. I
No.
want to let folks in on the secret here, but I've got a negative side. I don't know if you've seen that, Mark, but to me, you just do this in public. There's no reason to just make this long goodbye and what have you. I mean, look him in the eye, shake his hand, and tell him what you think man to man.
What's unfortunate is people get angry if you don't.
Oh, no, and that's another reason why I would never do it. So, like Brady's when he retired and he said his thing and he either didn't mention or barely mention the Patriots. And Brady then comes back and goes, did you not see 2 years ago what I sent out about how I feel about the Patriots?
Do I need to say
But
it
I was
again? Yeah.
retiring and I had just played with the Bucs. So I thanked the Bucs.
Yeah.
Did you not remember what I set out 2 years ago? And so that's to me why you just all do it. You do it face to face. And then when you get asked, you go, well, I did that privately. That's not something for you guys, no offense. That's something for me and Bruce. I told him privately how I felt about him and the significance, he made in my career and all that. And I thanked him. And it was heartfelt. And if, I'm not going to talk about it. If Bruce wants to talk about it, ask him.
Look, we're in today's world where they all want to quote and the reasons why. It's easy to just throw something up on social media. It's already been quoted 47,000 times across the country, how everybody wants to pin their article. It's just controlling the narrative. I actually don't have the snarky feeling that you do about it. I just think it's today's world. You and I would do it face to face, David. I do agree with that. I think it's generational. We are now in a social media world. This is how they conduct their whole lives. So I think it's difficult for you and I sometimes to see something and find it genuine because it's not anywhere in the realm of possibilities of things you and I would have ever done.
Do you agree with Paul in our Twitch chat room? Bruce wanted to leave Bowles with a real quarterback. When Brady wasn't coming back, Bruce was going to stick it out. But once Todd decided he was coming back, then Arians said, I'm out of here, which once again, then to me, Brady made the decision.
He helped Arians make it, I guess. But I think Bruce made it on his own, not without Tom telling him he had to leave. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening. The Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles Or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Klecko, I will say this. For 2 days, I thought no effing way they take his Oscar away from him or anything like that. I actually think the Academy is going to try to come down really hard on him. Would not surprise me if they ban him for years, actually. I don't think they'll take the Oscar away, but when I heard yesterday that apparently they asked him to leave and he didn't, my guess is their nose is going to be bent out of shape about this.
I don't know how they take it away.
I don't think
it's
they
taking
do.
the Heisman away. You know what I mean?
Right.
Who won it? Nobody? Oh, okay.
You like my shirt?
It's wonderful. Pull your jersey down.
Yeah.
Phil, you got your roommate in the Twitch chat room?
Who?
Someone just called, said Phil is GOAT.
That is not my roommate, actually.
Oh.
You think I'm... See, people actually kind of sort of like me.
No, Canada, I like you, Philly. I like you a lot. I really do. The reason he's standing up is that he is about to fall asleep.
No, Canada, you have no idea, man.
He only stands up when he's about to go out. So this is a long segment here. Roy Cummings, it's football. He doesn't care.
Oh, my God.
I would say he falls asleep this segment. And I'll say it going into it. I don't even care. What happened?
John McClain's retiring.
Oh, yeah?
Houston Chronicle. 47 years. Maybe the best NFL writer that's not national.
Wow. I got to make a phone call. Klecko, Kareem's piece hit a home run? What?
Kareem wrote an article on the Will Smith thing. We talked about it yesterday.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Correct.
That's right. He's a writer.
I have a quick question. Do you know of another Kareem?
Kareem Hunt. Boom.
Okay. And you thought he wrote
No,
about the
obviously not.
about the Will Smith?
Obviously not. No.
Right.
I don't know.
I thought it was a fair question.
This is where Philly sometimes, instead of shouting things, you should just take a second, digest them, and go, "Oh, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wrote a piece, really?
You know how many people you guys know that I don't know?
Yeah.
How many
that's 'cause we're
Kareems do
old.
we know that you don't know?"
I don't know. You guys know a guy named John Cassio, like the calculator Casio? What do you want me to expect here?
I'm going to tell him that. Hey, you're now known as the calculator.
No, but you need to.
In fact, he should have gone with that and said he invented that. It would probably would have made more sense.
I retweeted about Roy, and I said just when he thought he had a night off, he had to work again.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Eric Edholm, who covers the NFL at large and dives into the draft. The draft's 4 weeks from tonight, you know. We're going to start getting into the draft on a daily basis over these next 4 weeks. Eric Edholm to join us at the top of the hour. Roy Cummings doesn't have to worry about the draft for at least another day. Covers the Bucs for PewterPirates.com, PewterPirates.com. Follow Roy on Twitter, RCummingsFHCN. I'm guessing you had changed into something comfortable. You had your feet up. Maybe there was a favorite TV show on or something you DVR'd. And, you had to go to work again, Roy. Had to go to work again. My goodness. All right. In all seriousness, had you heard any rumblings at all?
No, none at all. This came as a surprise. I'll quote Peter James: a surprise, not a shock. I am among those who thought that Bruce Arians would probably leave after 3 years of coaching this team. I was surprised that he had agreed to stay on another year. And so this does not come as a surprise to me, but it's still a bit curious the way it's all come down. No doubt about that.
Well, from the coming down standpoint, do you buy that Bruce just all of a sudden said, "Yep, it's time for me to retire," or do you have some conspiracy theory in you?
You know, it's hard. I'm not a conspiracy guy. I think most things have logical explanations to them, and this does too. But it's kind of odd that, if this was the game plan all along, why announce it now? Why not announce it at the end of the season, before Todd Bowles, goes and interviews at a couple other places? So it tells me that there's something precipitated this, something prompted this move at this moment. Again, is it a health issue? Hard to know. It was it Tom Brady? Again, we don't know. Nobody's going to probably admit to any of that stuff. But it does make you think that something might have happened that prompted the decision to go at this particular moment or in this time period. This may be something that has been in the works for a week or two, and there were some things that had to be, worked out contractually. Who knows? On several parties. So there's a lot that could be behind this, but Again, I think most of that is there's logical solution, there's explanations for it, but it is a bit curious, no doubt.
Roy, my theory is that this directly ties to Brady, and that it's one of two ways. It's either Brady was really done with Arians and he just didn't want him around if he was coming back. But the other one is Arians was not going to saddle Todd Bowles with a Blaine Gabbert, Kyle Trask led team in which Todd's going to come out of the chute and go 7-10. And that once Brady decided he was coming back, Bruce said, "Oh, thank God, because I really don't want to do this anymore. Now Todd can, get his contract, get his quarterback, and I can get the heck out of here."
Yeah, I like that theory a lot, and I agree with it. I think that is, as I said, I think there's a logical explanation to everything, and I think that may be it. I think, if Tom Brady decides to come back, that's great. The fact that he's coming back allows Bruce Arians to say, all right, look, it's time for me to move on. If you're going to be back, we're going to be a solid team. We don't have to saddle some guy with a rookie quarterback who's not going to win. The team is going to be below 500. Bowles will never get a chance. This is the perfect opportunity. So my belief is much like yours. I believe that Tom Brady came back. Look, if Tom Brady is so small of a person to not come back because he loves the game of football so much, he's going to put football, in essence, ahead of his family yet again. Family would like him to retire. He wants to play football. He's going to come back, but then he's only going to come back if this coach isn't here. That's pretty small. I don't think Tom Brady is that small. I think he probably wanted a different head coach. He may regret getting this wish. We'll see. That's another issue. But I'm with you. I think that once Tom Brady came back, Bruce Arians said, okay, this is my opportunity. And he probably thought about it for a little bit, probably sat down with Jason White almost immediately within a day or two and started thinking, hey, look, I only wanted to do this for 3 years anyway. I want one of these guys to be my successor. We still have Todd Bowles, in our camp. Let's promote him to head coach. I'll step aside. They probably talked about, co-head coaching things, something like that. And it came down to this solution. And I think that's probably how it went. I don't think this was Tom Brady dictating that Bruce Arians is out. It's him or me. I don't think the situation was that bad. And I don't think it was bad at all, to be honest with you. So that's what I believe. I think you're right.
Where do the Bucs go from a coaching standpoint here? And why? What I'm saying, Roy, is do you think that Bowles, we know, has been a head coach, but he ran the defense. Do you think any part of the coaching staff goes backward with this move?
Yeah, my concern is, all right, how much will Bruce Arians play a part in putting together game plans? What's he really gonna do? What was he doing? What was his role before, and what will it be now? He had two very trusted lieutenants alongside of him. I'm sure that he completely left the defense to Todd Bowles, but I also believe that he probably had a big hand in running the offense. And, where does that go with Byron Leftwich? Does he still guide them? I hope he does. I think he does, because he cares about these guys so much and wants them to succeed, that I think he's going to, it wouldn't surprise me at all, talking about surprises, that I think the plan at this point is for him to do this for about a year and then move out. But I wouldn't be surprised if he sticks around for 2 years, maybe even 3. And continues to give these guys a guiding hand, because I think they're going to need it. But I think the fact that, in essence, you're keeping the group together means that you're probably going to keep the assistants and everything else, and well, they should. And we'll see where it goes. Look, is Todd Bowles on Bruce Arians' level as a head coach? The record says no. Your gut instinct says no. Logic tells you no. We'll see. I think Todd Bowles is one hell of a defensive coordinator. Very risky. He's a risk it, no biscuit, no risk it kind of guy himself. From a defensive standpoint, we saw that in the playoffs, and it hurt him. So we'll see where it goes from here. Being a head coach and being a coordinator is so different. And look, you've heard me say it many times. I believe some people are cut out to be coordinators and other people are cut out to be head coaches. There's an administrative angle to things when you're a head coach that's completely different than when you're a coordinator where it's all X's and O's. Is Todd Bowles cut out for that? It didn't look like it in New York. We'll find out here in Tampa.
Well, and I guess we're going to find out whether or not it was because the Jets roster was not that good. And also he was saddled after year one when he had Ryan Fitzpatrick. He was saddled with Geno Smith also. And I think a lot of people would have a pretty bad record if Geno Smith was their guy. What I'm curious about, Roy, is do you think Todd is still going to call the defense, or is he going to be like Arians was, a head coach? You handle the offense, you handle the defense.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll start to get those answers today at the press conference. I would think that he would. I mean, let's face it, that's his strength. And I think he's quite capable of handling the extra media attention and the responsibilities of dealing with the media that he has to deal with, addressing the team as a whole, that kind of thing. I think he's capable of doing that. Is he as effective as other coaches? We'll find out. But I would think that when you're a young head coach, and I'm sure he learned a lot from his stint with the Jets. I think you got to lean on your strengths. Do what you do. Don't forget what got you here, and play to those strengths. And yes, if calling the defense is what got him here, then he should continue to call the defense. Everything that you do during the week should not take away from what you do on Sunday. It's all about Sunday. It's all about Sunday between 1 and 4 p.m. or 4 and 8 p.m. or 8 and midnight. And everything should be geared towards that. Head coaches, all the administrative stuff that they do should be secondary to that. And I think what happens with a lot of young head coaches is they forget that. They've got so much more media responsibility, so much more administrative duties that they end up putting that at the front of or at the top of the list of priorities, and they forget about what it was that got him here. I'm hoping that Todd Bowles has learned that what got him here is his ability to call a unique and aggressive defensive game plan, and that he'll continue to do that. If he does, he's going to have a better chance of succeeding than if he doesn't.
He's Roy Cummings, pewterpirates.com, presser later today, making it official. Arians retiring. Todd Bowles, a 5-year contract to be the next head coach of the Tampa Bay Bucs. Roy, as always, appreciate you making time for us.
Hey, thanks for making time for me. I appreciate that, guys.
Roy Cummings, pewterpirates.com. Follow him on Twitter, rcummingsfhcn, rcummingsfhcn. The Bowles-Arians relationship goes all the way back to college. Arians was the head coach at Temple. Bowles played for him there. And then he's had a couple of different stops with Arians in the league as a defensive coordinator. 4 years with the Jets, 10-6 the first year. Not so good after that. And by not so good, I mean 5-11, 5-11, 4-12. Last place in the AFC East all 3 years.
He never had a Tom Brady and had to play against him twice. Now he has a Tom Brady.
Right.
And no one else in the division that you really have to play against twice that threatens you the way that Tom Brady did when he was with the Jets.
Jameis, the starting quarterback in New Orleans, with Andy Dalton as the backup.
Mariota's the starting quarterback in Atlanta,
with who knows as the backup. And Carolina right now, it's Sam Darnold until proven otherwise.
I mean, Jameis is clearly the second best quarterback in the division right now.
Yes. And their quarterback situation also, if Jameis were to get hurt or falter, I think Andy Dalton would then become the second best quarterback in the division.
You might be right.
Well, he certainly had the second best career.
Oh, there's no question. I think right now Marcus Mariota might be a touch better, but it's an interesting, it would be an interesting question to ask, who would you want as your backup? If you were to poll coaches out there and say Mariota or Dalton, who would you want as your backup of who they'd say? I think it'd be pretty close.
I agree with you. And you're right. The age factor, I think, would have a lot to do with
Absolutely. But also from a backup standpoint, would it? Would they just go, I'll take the old guy. I know what I can get out of him for 4 games. I think he can get me 3 wins on a good football team.
Miller and Moulton. I think things will be fine this year in Tampa. I really do. I also think this helps Leftwich. There's no misunderstanding from somebody out there who wants to hire him as a head coach. He's clearly running the offense. And also, I think you will see and hear a lot more about Leftwich's relationship with Brady and how much Tom likes him and the respect that he has for him. That can only help Leftwich get a job a year from now. Some questions have been brought up about the Rooney Rule and why is it that the Bucs seemingly, don't have to go through the whole list of candidates and what have you. I'm not going to pretend to know all the specifics. I do think the timing of the move helps because it's actually it would be very difficult for the Bucs to do an extensive search right now. I don't think a lot of teams would give them permission.
Well, here's the other thing. If we're going to start chomping at the Rooney Rule with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, look to another team. I believe this is Tampa's 4th black head coach. If you're going to point a finger at a team, don't point it at the Glazers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Don't. It's a bad move by you.
I think it's a fair point. Both coordinators being black, and as you've mentioned, they've had multiple black head coaches.
So I just think
there are still quite a few franchises that haven't had one.
Right. I just think it's the wrong team to point your finger at with the Rooney Rule. They interviewed one black guy and they hired the black guy. I don't know what else is it you want them to do.
Right. They were going to give the job to, the offense coordinator or the defensive coordinator.
I don't know what you want to bring this up. It doesn't make any sense to me, to us for that matter. I will say we got one text from a Bucs fan who said, talk about the rumblings that Arians would change the game plans. He goes, look, all I know is I want D-lines, another wide receiver, and some offensive line depth. He's moved on quickly. Miller and Moulton. The bonus hour is on the other side. Thanks for listening to the Florida Sports Network. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program,
The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Thought that might be him walking in, but so my other guy that was working on another course got us Crown Colony, but it's not going to be that much of a savings. Do you think we should just do West Bay at 90?
That does include a shirt too, right?
No, 90's golf and food. We're not going to get it for much cheaper.
Where is Crown Colony?
It's where they played that women's tournament at. But it's going to end up being about the same price there. It's not going to be that much cheaper.
Which one you think's more conveniently located?
West Bay.
Then we do that one.
Mark, I know I've asked this question like 7 million times, but what's your course again?
Estero Country Club.
Estero.
How much of it's in Fort Myers?
What?
Estero Country Club.
It used to be all of it,
right?
But I believe now it's all Estero. I don't know.
Yeah, right. I mean, I find that fascinating. Like my childhood course in Middlesex and Union counties like bordered one another. And there were like 12 of the holes were in Union County and 6 were in Middlesex. And because of it, since I was in Middlesex, we had to pay a little bit more to be members. Okay. But we were allowed to play the course.
Well, it's funny because now Estero Country Club, most of the mail's Fort Myers. We are 33967, which is technically a Fort Myers zip, but Estero keeps annexing in part of it because I vote on the Estero Village crap.
Okay.
I don't know if they do it, but I mean, people inside the gates of Estero Country Club, the Vines or whatever, like to call themselves because no one wants to say Fort Myers. Fort Myers is not as nice as Naples. Estero,
of course not.
Estero,
right?
Bonita Springs.
Bonita definitely sounds nice, but
and it's not.
Well, parts of it.
I mean,
it's
parts
not.
of it.
I mean, it's featured on the good and the bad, the ugly sometimes, you know. But people would rather say Estero than Fort Myers.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I kind of like Fort Myers.
I do too, but I'm just saying.
Cool.
The further south you go, it's the nicer.
It's the perfumed air.
Right.
The air is worth more the further south you go.
Is there an actual fort here?
No, but no.
There's not a historic fort in Fort Myers.
No.
That is just sad. All right, let's make phone calls.
No, you got to call. You got a guest coming up here.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to make phone calls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, exactly, Spitz. Like many places you see it online, it's listed as Venice. It's definitely Northport. do a little show today.
Yeah. He's on hold. We're back in right now, actually.
Stuff that's
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, all coming up in a little more than 35 minutes. Our poll question today, Bruce Arians retired. Who do you think made that decision, Bruce Arians or Tom Brady? That's right. We love a good conspiracy theory. All right. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FL Sports Network, all on Twitter. You can go to floridasportsnetwork.com and vote there. The Bruce Arians retirement is not why we reached out to Eric Edholm of Yahoo. We actually wanted to talk about the draft, which is 4 weeks from tonight. You can follow Eric on Twitter at Eric_Edholm, EDHOLM. Eric, it's David and Mark. Once again, how are you?
Yeah, that's sort of a familiar theme. I'm doing well. I get invited onto shows and people want to talk draft, and then like 9 crazy stories during the NFL break. And all right, we're going to put that on hold for a minute because, Russell Wilson's a Bronco, and, it's just been the theme of the offseason.
I mean, Tom Brady retired, 50 days ago or thereabouts, 45, 50 days ago.
Right.
There have been 75 things that had happened between then and now. I mean, what the hell is this NFL, Eric? When did these guys
Aaron
start
Rodgers
playing fantasy football?
Packers is like the 14th most interesting thing to happen. I mean, I don't really know what to make of it. It's obviously amazing for the league. I think, they had about a 6-day period where, Will Smith and Chris Rock kind of dominated the headlines. They said, we got to get this thing back. We got to get back on track here. We got to coach to retire, a player, whatever. It really was interesting because, there had been obviously a lot of rumors about how long Bruce was going to coach, and, obviously Brady's status was up in the air. And, when I was at the Combine a couple weeks ago, there was still talk about Brady playing for San Francisco. I mean, this thing had a lot of tentacles to it. I know it's very easy to connect dots and say, okay, Brady sees the Glazers in London, and then one day later he's back, and then Bruce, there's reporting from, the Tampa Bay Times and other story, places that one day later he decided to retire. Look, it's hard not to sort of draw some sort of line between the two things, but, Bruce did 2 interviews to break the story and, didn't throw anybody under the bus. So until we have a little bit more to go on, it's hard to know exactly what the motivation was.
Eric Edholm of Yahoo. Follow him on Twitter at Eric_Edholm, EDHOLM. All right. Can we talk a little bit of draft, which is 4 weeks from tonight? Has anything changed in March? Combine and some workouts and what have you, and then, trades. And so people who didn't have picks are now in the top 10. Eric, what do you believe has changed from March 1st to March 31st, if anything?
Yeah, it's probably the teams that need quarterbacks or need them even more badly now. And this year, obviously last year we had 5 go in the first 15 picks. I think it was a record. And, obviously last year was an unusual draft because of the high-end talent, because of the quarterback allotment. And this year is a different beast. I mean, there's curiosity and Malik Willis, and Kenny Pickett had a really fine final season and is pretty straight. Desmond Ridder too, I would say. And, you could make a case for Howell and Matt Corral, but clearly there's not as much buzz, not as much perceived upside in this quintet as last year's 5-some. And so, I don't know what that ends up meaning. I mean, there are people in the league who are of the school of thought that, look, quarterbacks, we're in an era where quarterbacks go early, whether they truly deserve to or not, whether the value was there or not. So I keep hearing them out of one ear, and then out of the other, people are telling me, I don't have a first-round grade on a quarterback this year, and I believe them. I don't think this is, it's coming from teams that aren't as high on that quarterback need list as, the ones with true vacancies and things like that. So I think there's some real stock you can put into what they're saying. And I do think there's probably, when I've asked around this last week, 10 days, how many quarterbacks could possibly go in the first 10 picks? The answer I've gotten from a few teams now is maybe one. But I don't know. If one goes off earlier than expected, that really could trigger a chain of events that leads to another one and really kind of, mess with the how the players come off the board.
Well, Mark, how many times have you and I referenced, we thought that one draft when once Jake Locker went 8, and that's why, Ponder goes and Gabbert goes, and that, if Carolina at 6 or Washington at, if one of those teams all of a sudden goes quarterback, a panic could set in.
And here's the thing, and I don't know if it would happen, but come on, we all know the Detroit Lions need a quarterback. Is Willis enough to go at 2? I mean, because obviously, Eric, if someone likes him, you go grab him whenever. And could Detroit, or if it's not Detroit, who's going to make the jump to take Malik Willis?
Yeah, I mean, that's the deal right there. I think the first pivot point is at 6 with Carolina. My gut feeling is that Detroit is probably not taking a quarterback at 2. I think they were fascinated by Willis because they coached him at the Senior Bowl, and I think they understand that, he's probably the one quarterback that makes the most sense for them with the idea that, okay, Dan Campbell seemed to really like the guy. I think Campbell has made a mention of wanting to, build his team specifically around his players' strengths and, no more so than a quarterback. There's a real possibility for a succession plan where, Jared Goff played well enough down the stretch to earn his job back. He could be the starter until, whenever the wheels fall off, I guess. And then you insert Willis and you give the fan base something to cheer about. And, if you think his upside is good enough, okay, then I guess you do take him at 2. But if I had to guess right now that they probably won't do that, their hope would probably be that Carolina takes Pickett at 6, with the thinking being Matt Rule's fighting for his job. He needs more of an immediate performer. Does Pickett have a lower ceiling? Yes, perhaps. But we got to win games, and we don't trust Sam Darnold. Like, that's the hope, I think. And then Detroit has the 32nd pick and then the second pick in round 234. Maybe they can swing a deal and come back up. I don't know. I mean, I'm just riffing here, but it really is fascinating to see how this might go. The Steelers at 20 are going to be ready to pounce maybe. So it's hard to know how it's all going to shake out. A lot of people around the league are curious how the top 10 or 12 picks will go.
Well, and Eric, you took me where I wanted to go. Are the Steelers this year's Patriots? I mean, everybody knew the Patriots wanted Mac Jones to fall to them at 15. Sure enough, it happens. They take him. Come on. Are the Steelers really all in on Mitchell Trubisky and Mason Rudolph? I think ideally the Steelers would love for whichever quarterback they love to fall to them at 20. Do you think that they're this year's Patriots?
They might be this year's Bears. Right? And, at 20, the Bears last year, that's where they were picking, moved up to 11. And I believe it cost them,
this year's
rounder.
This year's first.
Yeah, and a little bit more. I'm trying to remember exactly. So, the jump from 20 to 11, 9 spots, still costs you a pretty penny, right? I mean, that's a pretty cavernous leap there in draft terms. So I think they're questioning whether that's worth it or whether they should stay there and take a D tackle or offensive lineman or something like that. And, they can double back and try to get somebody a little bit lower. I think they like Sam Howell. I don't think they love him. I think they appreciate him. That's my guess. So that's the debate I think that's happening right now. And it really does depend on what happens at some of those pivot points high in the draft. I think Seattle at 9 would be another team that you at least are curious about. Are they really in on Drew Lock, or do they feel like, yeah, we can definitely upgrade or add to that room? So if it gets past 9, Willis, then all of a sudden everything's up for grabs. Remember, they traded up 10 spots for Devin Bush. I mean, a linebacker, they went from 20 to 10. And again, it cost them a good amount. and that move hasn't paid off yet. Are they gun shy because of that, or does that make them more willing to do a move like for a quarterback? This is Kevin Colbert's final draft. I wonder if he looks at it a little bit like Ozzie Newsome did, which was in his final draft, he took Lamar Jackson. I mean, it's a legacy pick of sorts. So I wonder, how much of that influence matters in the selection.
Well, Eric, just given the fact that the last 40, 50 days have been so crazy, don't you see this draft being a continuation of what the NFL has become, and that this could be as nuts of a draft when you got all these teams with multiple first-round picks? I mean, we could be in for chaos on draft night, couldn't we?
Could be. Yeah. I mean, the thing that tamps my enthusiasm a little bit is that this year's top 12, 15 picks pales in comparison talent-wise, up in my opinion. This is, in the opinion of a lot of people around the league. So what we saw a year ago with Kyle Pitts and Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle and all these, Devontae Smith and Micah Parsons and whatnot. I mean, it was a loaded top half of the draft last year. I think everybody knew it at the time. The quarterbacks we mentioned, even if they didn't play great collectively as rookies, that's a rare group. This year, you're having to kind of sell yourself on some of these players. So, I think the wow factor of some of the talents that are up there is not that great. The rest of the draft is pretty similar in terms of, depth and talent throughout. I actually think it sounds a little lame, but I think the day 3 is going to provide some pretty good value. And I think, the undrafted free agents, but the superstar talent in this draft to me is lacking. So that's the one thing that I think, there could be a lot of activity. Yes, the trade talk will be fun with the quarterbacks, but elsewhere, I don't know that it's going to have quite the punch that it did a year ago.
Eric Edholm of Yahoo. You can follow him on Twitter at Eric_Edholm, EDHOLM. Eric, we will keep calling. Hopefully you'll keep answering, and we'd love to talk draft between now and 4 weeks from tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. I think something will happen between now and then, and give us a topic or two.
Yeah, I have a feeling. Eric, be good.
All
Thanks.
right.
Eric Edholm of Yahoo. Eric_Edholm, EDHOLM on Twitter. I don't think it'll be as crazy as you think, because I don't think the quarterbacks are as sexy, and
Could be the back half of the first round, though, David.
well, especially with all the teams having multiple first-round picks. Like, do the Eagles keep all three at 15, 16, and 19? Or do they move up for one specific guy with one of those picks? Like, they really need a receiver. Do they want to grab the best one? A lot to discuss.
Miller and Moulton. Miss any of the show? Go to millerandmoulton.com, floridasportsnetwork.com. You can download it at all the usual places as well. We thank you for listening. Back with more in a moment right here on the Florida Sports Network. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I'm seeing something. I'm seeing a response.
Yinzer, you know my feeling. I say you keep taking a quarterback till you get it right. What do we have, about a minute or 3 minutes?
Oh, we got like 4 minutes.
Or the
Okay, come in here, fine. Come in there, fine.
Okay.
So probably in here.
Come check it out.
Don't know.
spin the mic away from you. Just God forbid it.
No.
Picks
I
up an
came back
echo
from
or
commercial
whatever.
break. I put him on mute. And then when I went to put him back, it just stopped.
Where did you put him on mute?
Press this button.
Yeah, Klecko. Yeah, it bothered my wife a lot, the
Oh,
Bruce Willis
this
news.
button works.
She loves Die Hard.
Yeah, he's 170 years old.
He's 67.
Retire. Enjoy life.
Well, unfortunately, now he has to. I will say he's made a bunch of B and C movies here in the last 2 years. Apparently, he, knew he was in failing health, and he was just trying to bank as much money as he could for his
First family.
He's got like 5 daughters or something like that. I would like to think he's got a lot of money banked. He's
Yeah, this is my Xbox.
Did you see any lights here
No.
before? When it goes
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
literally, we were in a commercial break and I went to talk to him and the light just turned, like literally as I was speaking, the light shut off.
right.
So the lights were on before. Now
Yes.
Now they're off. Yeah. It's the damnedest thing. I've never really seen anything like that before.
Tech time with everyone today.
But in order for things to really screw up, you need to be in one of these studios.
Right. Here we go. Lakers, by the way.
All right. There it is.
There we go. Lakers segment. Vince Carter and Brian Windhorst. That's a big guy.
I really do like the Melanator.
Sybil Shepherd, Moonlighting.
Yep.
Sybil Shepherd was the lead actress. Loved that show.
It was a good show.
Loved it. Used to take my dinner break on Wednesday nights because it was a like 9 o'clock show.
Yeah, it wasn't 9. Was it Wednesday? Wow. Somebody
Yeah.
thought it was Monday.
I thought it was Wednesday.
Oh, I'm not. By
used
no
to-
means am I going to argue with you on that one, David.
Literally, it caused problems between me and the sports director. Because I'd be like, listen, I'll get a bunch of work done. I'll go out. I'll shoot the 7:30 games or the set, thing. I'll be back. I'll edit it, but I'm taking my dinner hour 9 to 10. It's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Moonlighting. Got to remember, it's 86.
No, I know.
I couldn't tape it back at the,
I
I'm
know,
still in
no.
college. I got no place to tape it.
20
Had
seconds.
to watch it live, or that was it.
Twitch chat, we got a special guest in the building with me. You know what I mean? No, you don't know what I mean.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. All coming up in a little less than 20 minutes. We just met Felipe's dad.
Really quiet.
Right. Unassuming.
Right.
Nice.
Huh.
What is that supposed to be? Whoa. Huh? What's that huh about?
I think you know.
Think you can figure it out. I mean, we asked him one question. We said, he does a lot of dancing during the commercial breaks on Twitch. What's that all about? And he said, well, he did it around the house too. I don't know what to tell you. Okay.
That's all.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of information in 3-4 minutes about someone.
Yep. 3 old guys know how to communicate, Felipe.
Right. We don't have to say a whole lot to figure out a lot of things.
We nailed your childhood down in 38 seconds or less. Okay. We can get right to it. We gave him some tips about, going to spring training today. And
he gave us some tips about you.
Yeah, there you go. It was done. It was pleasant. Then we had to fix a microphone. So
big break.
Good. Did you see, and I asked you this before we came on air for this segment, because I thought you might have it in your good, bad, and ugly, and I didn't want to steal it. Did you see last night, and I'm assuming it was last night because I saw it on Twitter in the early morning hours. So I'm assuming it's from last night in Savannah, Georgia?
I did not.
Bill Lee. All right. Red Sox legend.
Yep.
In the Red Sox Hall of Fame. And I believe he's 75 years old now. And I don't know if this happened last night or if this happened from a long time ago and just it's getting, talked about now. But the Savannah Bananas are doing things, differently. Remember, they had the game the other day in which if you hit a foul ball into the stands and it was caught, you're out.
Right.
Well, the video that I saw was, and he's 75 right now, so I'm assuming this happened last night. He's at the Savannah Bananas game.
It happened last week, but yes.
Okay. And he's in the crowd, and he's drinking a big beer.
Or I'm sorry, they signed him last week. He did pitch last night.
Okay. He's in the crowd with a tall boy in a plastic cup in his hand, whatever inning it was. They go, hey, call to the bullpen. And Bill Lee comes walking out of the stands. And he goes out to the mound and he stretches a little bit and he throws
his beer.
With his beer. And he stretches, getting loose. He's 75 years old. He's been sitting in the stands. And he throws his warm-up pitches. And then he pitches the inning. Now, remember, Bill Lee, for those of you of a certain age, Bill had basically a changeup that very few people ever threw. I mean, he threw it high in the air like you were looping it in, almost like a softball pitch. And major league players had a hard time with it. Now, in Game 7 of the 75 World Series, Tony Perez hit one over the Green Monster on one of those pitches, even though it had worked the whole World Series until that moment. So Bill Lee gets out there and he's pitching to a couple of guys and he strikes a guy out. He threw him 2 of those eephus pitches, as they call it, and he struck a guy out. 75-year-old Bill Lee, beer in hand, pitched an inning for the Savannah Bananas last night.
I'll tell you what, we're in the bonus hour, so we're just local. The now mighty Muscles, which were the Miracle.
Right.
And we're at the top of the get noticed nationally promotion campaign. Fellas, your work's been cut out for you because the Bananas are owning minor league baseball right now.
Are they ever?
Now, they're able to do some things that other teams can't because they're an independent team and an independent league, which allows you to make up crazy rules and what have you and allow the fans to catch a ball and they're out. Although I would argue right now that across minor league baseball, that rule should be implemented.
Well, I think it should be implemented for one inning. Like I would make whatever inning it is, 5th inning, 6th inning, whatever inning you want to make it. This is hey, you hit a foul ball in this inning and it's caught in the stands, you're out. Just to have some fun. Or maybe just one league could do it.
Well,
like the Florida State League could just say.
The Florida State League could easily do it.
It's low A.
And I think any league, not double A or any A league. And by the time you get to double A, maybe not. And I even think in double A you could do it. David, in triple A you could do it because you know what major league teams care less about? What their minor league teams' records are.
Right.
Are the players being developed? That is the only point for the major league teams for minor league baseball. So if they did implement that rule across the sport tomorrow, it wouldn't have, major league teams would just laugh at it.
I think by AAA, they'd lose their sense of humor only because they don't want their top prospects to lose at bats for something fluky like that. But there's no doubt, Mark, your point about the lower minors, yeah, they would be like, you do whatever you got to do to put 500 extra people in the stands, to pay your bills so we don't have to.
Could you imagine? Look, first off, you got a foul ball at a major league game. Is that the only foul ball you've ever caught?
The one that I gave away?
Yeah.
No, I've given away 3.
Given away 3? Okay.
Yeah.
I got one foul ball when Ramirez hit me with a line drive.
Right. Right.
And I gave that ball away. It's cool getting a foul ball. I don't care what, like when you got that ball, when you and I and our old producer were at the Yankees-Rays game,
right.
I don't give a damn. It was Moulton got a foul ball.
Right.
It's cool.
Right.
Could you imagine catching a foul ball that's an out?
Well, and then the pressure of, hey, if your team's at the plate, do you catch it or does everybody let it hit the seats and then you fight for it?
Right. Do you catch it and then just turn the glove over and drop it?
And is that ruled an out or not?
Now, if you catch it with your beer cup.
Well, like,
well, that should end the inning. Theoretically, that should end the inning.
Like, Mello here in our Twitch chat room says, I'm all for it, but you have to catch it gloveless. Now, see, I disagree.
Oh,
okay.
Gotta be a glove.
You bring a glove to the game or you've got a little 10-year-old with the glove. No. You catch it, you catch it.
One of the best catches I've ever seen was at a Tiger A's game. I was very little. We were in the first row of the upper deck on the right field side, and a right-handed batter was late and hit a screamer.
Sure.
My mother has a hot dog in her hand. The guy said, I don't know who he was. The guy sitting next to her may have saved her life. It was my mom, my dad, or my mom, me, and my dad. We all had dogs. And the guy reached over before my dad did and made a one-hand stab literally in front of my mother's nose of a line shot. Best foul ball grab. That should have been an out.
The best one I've seen, it was the guy a couple years ago. He had the kid in one hand.
Oh, the baby.
He had the baby in one hand with a beer in that hand, okay, and reaches up with the bare hand and snags it while walking in the little concourse area in between levels there. Oh, it was tremendous. I'm all for this. But 75-year-old Bill Lee
strikes a man out.
Comes out of the stands, okay, gets him to foul one off early and then throws him an eephus pitch, which he also fouls off. And then he says, I'll do it again. And the kid misses it.
He's never going to live that. It's going to be a long year for that young man.
Struck out on a pitch that on the radar gun was like going 18. And did I mention he's 75 years old and he just struck you out and he's got the beer next to the rosin bag.
You got struck out by a grandfather.
Right.
That stings.
Although I will say you did get struck out by a guy who pitched Game 7 of a World Series. I mean, you could say that.
Better spin it that way.
Right.
Just don't get into the part that he was 75 when he did it.
I don't know.
What Game 7 did he pitch? 75.
Stands were packed, by the way. Last night was a Wednesday night in March.
What else would you want to do in Savannah, Georgia?
Packed.
And Savannah, Georgia is a great city.
It is. The weather's good and all that, but absolutely packed. The Savannah Bananas. Which,
Terrific name before any of the gimmickry started.
right. I mean, it's right up there with making whoopee. I mean, it's close. All right. It's close. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. And next. Napa Auto Parts and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I did not see the guy for the Bananas that did the split during the at-bat. I saw the reaction from the catcher.
I think there's another rule with that.
Today was, I'm looking at, I think today in 94 was Madonna's appearance on Letterman, which they had to delete 13 offending words from the interview. And Madonna also handed Letterman a pair of her panties and told him to sniff them.
That's outstanding.
So, Mark, Bill Lee was 75?
Yes.
Jeez.
Is 75.
Is, yeah.
Yes. Unless he died while pitching, which would have been, I mean, if he'd have struck the guy out while dying, that would have been really impressive.
I mean, that's a good way to go out.
You're right.
It's a 3.8 mile circuit, by the way, in Vegas is what they've laid out. 3.8 miles.
Nice shoes, Pop. Got some drip on right now. Sick. I think so.
Wonder when McAfee decided tank tops with two necklaces is going to be my look.
I don't know.
Because I hate the tank top.
Yeah, I do too.
Now, even when I was in halfway decent shape, I hated the tank top.
I never won.
three albums, but two pretty big albums today.
I don't have any albums today. I have one bit of music news, though. But I have no albums today.
Probably the biggest being Zeppelin 1.
Okay.
Released today in 1969. It's 53. Still plays.
Yes.
Deepak, yes, I'm going.
Oh.
Worst Easter egg candy is the Peeps. It's Peeps.
I'm fine with the corn, by the way. I know that's for Halloween, but
Oh, you didn't see
it.
Oh, the candy corn?
Yeah.
My dad loved candy corn.
I love all but black jelly beans.
I like all jelly beans.
Jelly beans are good.
I don't like black licorice. Don't like black jelly beans.
Don't tell me you like candy corn, though.
I don't mind it. David likes it. My dad loved it. I mean, loved it.
You like candy corn, too? Man, all y'all crazy. Candy corn sucks.
I'm not going to get it. I mean, I don't think it's good. Oh, of course, Canada Relief. Come on. What kid didn't in the 80s?
I don't think I did.
Never had the open red licorice and just drank your soda right out of it, huh?
No.
Oh, yeah.
I think I just broke to my dad that Devontae Adams is a Raider. You didn't know? Huh.
Yeah, I'm with you, Canada Relief.
15 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until our time is up. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Tomorrow's April Fool's Day. It'll at least be a football Friday in some way, shape, or form because Pat Kerwin's scheduled to rejoin us. Owners' meetings complete. And now it's all draft all the time.
My brother-in-law's birthday tomorrow. He's 50.
On
50
April
years,
Fool's Day.
50 years of taking abuse on April 1st.
I'm guessing he doesn't like the fact that his birthday's on April 1st.
Probably not.
It's like those whose birthdays are around Christmas. A lot of people don't like that.
It's also my dog Frank's birthday. We didn't know his exact birthday, but he's kind of a fool, so we dubbed it. We were close in that range when he was rescued. So
What are we talking now?
Frank's 10?
I thought he was older, to be honest.
No, Frank's 11.
Okay.
Frank's 11 tomorrow. Huh, look at that.
He'll get better birthday presents than you will.
Not even close. Should have seen what the cats got last week.
And that was just a Tuesday. Time now for...
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When...
All right, we're going back to 1889. The Eiffel Tower is 133 years old. It opened on this date, March 31st, 1889.
Never been so happy that when I was in Paris, the line was so long that my buddies didn't really want to endure the line because I'm petrified of heights and would have had no choice
Right.
but to go along.
I think it's 300 meters, I believe. And a meter is 3 feet and like 3.5 inches. So do the math accordingly. It's close to 1,000 feet. It was the longest man-made structure for like 40 years. So they started building the skyscrapers, I think, in the States. Mark, 116 years ago today, the Intercollegiate Athletic Association was formed. It was formed to set the rules in amateur sports. 4 years later, it became the NCAA. 1918, first time we ever used daylight savings time. It was on this day 104 years ago.
And why don't we just keep it? We had enough here. Are we getting closer?
What, to get
To
rid of
go
it?
to one or the other.
Well,
This back and forth stuff, I've had it.
well, listen, it's about the only thing. I mean, please, it passed the Senate unanimously. I mean, they can't even agree on, like,
Right.
Giving money to kids. All right. But daylight savings time, we can agree to get
Something
rid of that.
we can stand behind here.
Yep. Tragic day on March 31st, 1931. Newt Rockney and 7 others killed in a plane crash on a flight that was going from Kansas City to Los Angeles. It was on this day in 1968, LBJ announced in a primetime address that he would not seek re-election. The whole Vietnam War thing.
Right.
He wasn't very popular.
Yeah.
Right. So he said, no, I'm out. Also on this day in 1968, they named the Seattle Major League Baseball team the Pilots. What's interesting is 2 years later, on the exact same day, March 31st, the Pilots were sold in bankruptcy court to a group out of Milwaukee. Bud Selig, used car salesman, threw in a few $1,000,000, part of that group. The rest, as they say. 1973, a lot went on March 31st, 73, Mark. First off, Bobby Orr had a hat trick, which means for the 4th straight year, he scored 100 points. Remember, he's a defenseman. No one had ever done that before.
That's why he's on the Mount Rushmore of the sport.
Billie Jean King snapped Margaret Court's 57-match win streak after losing the first set in a 3-set match, by the way. But, Mark, those of us of a certain age, Ali suffered a broken jaw in the second round and goes the distance with a broken jaw and loses a split decision to Ken Norton. 12-round fight, non-title fight because he wasn't the champion. But Ali, broken jaw in the second round, goes the distance, loses a split decision, 12-rounder to Ken Norton.
Norton, Foreman, Frazier, Ali.
All at the same time.
Right.
Right. 5th best heavyweight in the world was Ron Lyle. He could stop a truck with his right hand. This is the 5th best heavyweight. 1975, on this day, John Wooden's final game. He announced his retirement after the semifinal win. UCLA beat Kentucky 92-85 for John Wooden's 10th and final championship. 10 titles in 12 years is how he went out at UCLA. On this day in 1980, Mark, 2 heavyweight championship fights on the same day. No one remembers the first. Larry Holmes beat a tomato can. But Mike Weaver knocked out John Tate in the 15th round for the heavyweight championship. Tate had won all 14 rounds on 2 of the 3 judges' cards. All Tate had to do was stand up, and he would have been heavyweight champion. And he was fighting in his hometown of Knoxville, Tennessee. And Weaver hit him with a left hook and knocked him out and won the title. It's when the heavyweight championship of the world was
a really big deal.
Big deal. 1982, a couple of things happened. The Doobie Brothers broke up 40 years ago today.
All I can think of is the movie Romancing the Stone. They get the plane with all the weed in it. And he's reading the Rolling Stone magazine. Oh, blank! The Doobie Brothers broke up.
And a rather significant deal took place. The NBA and the NBA Players Association reached a 4-year agreement in which they agreed to minimum payrolls, maximum payrolls, and a 53% revenue share. The first ever deal like it in pro sports. And now, with the exception of baseball, hockey, NFL, this is the norm. 1982 NBA, pre-David Stern, by the way. That was Larry O'Brien. Calvin Pete, Mark, in 1985, won the TPC by 3. It was 36 years ago today. Denny Crum and Louisville won their last national championship. They beat Duke 72-69. That was Coach K's first title game. That was the first year of the tournament, 86, with a 45-second shot clock. The famous Villanova upset of Georgetown, no shot clock. That's why Villanova only had 10 possessions in the second half or took 10 shots. On this day, 35 years ago, Keith Smart hit the shot. Indiana 74, Syracuse 73. 1990, Joe Sakic, 20 years old, scores 100 points in a season for the Quebec Nordiques. Still the youngest player, I believe, in the history of the league to score 100 points in a season. 1994, Michael Jordan was assigned on this day to Double-A Birmingham. In the Southern League, he would play for Terry Francona and the Birmingham Barons.
In a brand new bus a couple of weeks from now.
That's right. 1995, a federal judge, you may have heard of her, Sonia Sotomayor. She's a Supreme Court justice now. But 27 years ago, she was a federal judge, and she issued an injunction against the Major League Baseball owners, and it effectively ended the 232-day strike between the players and owners, and a large reason why baseball resumed. 1996, Freddie Couples won the TBC by 4. He shot 64 on Sunday. 25 years ago, Arizona, in Rick Pitino's final game as Kentucky head coach, beat he and the Wildcats 84-79 in overtime, still Zona's only national championship. And 24 years ago today, Mark, both the Devil Rays and the Diamondbacks lose their Major League Baseball debuts. Rays lost to Detroit 11-6. Diamondbacks lost to Colorado 9-2. Longtime heavyweight champion Jack Johnson, famous golfer Tommy Bolt, Gordie Howe, Miller Barber, and Sebastian Bach, all born on this day, Mark. Mark Tuinei is 62. John Taylor is 60. Tom Barrasso is 57. Pavel Bure is 51. Basketball Steve Smith, remember him? 53 years old.
Motor City Smitty? Yeah, I do.
Gabe Kaplan, 77. Rhea Perlman, 74. Angus Young of AC/DC is 67. Molly Querim is 37. And I need more cowbell. Christopher Walken is 79. And that is Today Was the Day.
Couple of omissions, David. It was 55 years ago today at the Astoria Theatre in London that this guitar player named Jimi Hendrix would set his guitar afire for the very first time. He would go to the hospital with minor burns. During the rest of the tour, he'd play with his teeth and ignite a few more guitars and start doing that. Zeppelin in 69 debuted their very first album titled Led Zeppelin. It would have a little staying power. And just for you, David, today in 84, more for your wife, not really for you. Footloose, the #1 song in the land.
Unbelievable.
Footloose.
It's awful.
It was awful then. It's awful now.
Just my wife.
I want to dance.
I know. My wife will stop and watch that movie every single time.
I know. That's why I added it.
I'll say this. Steve Smith has a trick that he pulled off where it was a half dribble spin move. It's called the Smitty. I use it in every pickup game.
We're sure that you are.
And it is the Smitty. And I have to pay ode to him because that's his move.
Unbelievable. Pickup games, intramural games. How does that make it onto the show?
I don't know.
I don't know. I blame his father.
Do you know that when parents of the softball team go, are you going to talk about this on your show? I look them dead in the eye. I go, no, never.
No.
Never will come up.
No. Unless you can get Felipe at your softball game, then it can make the show.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Jacksonville, David, where I have a new favorite meteorologist. Richard Nunn was on his way to work and saw a car crash. The driver slammed into a trailer parked, and it caught fire. Richard Nunn spotted the fiery crash on his way to work. rescued the driver, grabbed a hose out of a neighboring yard, and put out the fire.
Wow.
Go get him, Dickie Nunn. You're the man.
Wow. That's a boss meteorologist right
Right
there.
on.
You know what? If he wants 30 extra seconds at 6 and 11, give it to him.
For the bad, we go to RSW. And not because anything that happened on the inside, David. Alejandra Campenzano of Clewiston. I have no idea why, but she was on the runway in her car after she broke through the gate and was driving around on the runway. She broke through a back gate that clearly says this area is designed operational area of an airport. Anyone who trespasses on this property commits a felony. She did. She was finally taken to jail. She sits on a $200,000 bond. When she was being interviewed by the police, she told the police, I want to blow your brains out.
Okay.
That'll add to your day.
I don't keep you locked up.
Finally, the ugly, we go to Dublin, California, where 41-year-old Brandy Jones was going to court on her appearance for stealing a car. Looks like she's going to spend a little time in jail because she showed up in court for appearing for a stolen car in, guess what?
No.
A stolen car.
That's unbelievable.
She's in jail, obviously. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, the final day of March, 2022.
9 games in the NHL tonight. Panthers at home for the Blackhawks. They're minus 350.
They were minus 380 the other day for the Habs.
Yeah, I know. The Blackhawks have like 10 more points in the standings than the Habs. That's why it's only minus 350. Some big home favorites tonight. Calgary's minus 280 against the Kings. Bruins are minus 270 against the Devils. The Carolina Hurricanes are minus 430 at home against the Canadiens.
Unbelievable. 5 games in the association tonight. Sixers at the Pistons, Lakers at the Jazz, Clippers at the Bulls. Probably the 2 biggest games, I would say. The Cavs at the Hawks. They're still fighting for one of those play-in spots. And the Bucs are at Brooklyn taking on the Nets.
NIT championship tonight. A&M's a 4.5-point favorite against Xavier. Xavier with the interim coach. I think I'll lay the 4.5 with A&M. I'm disrespecting Xavier. I picked against him in the semis. I'm picking against him today.
I like Xavier more than I like A&M, so I'll just bet against you for fun.
And that's pretty much it. Women's Final Four gets underway tomorrow.
By tomorrow, there should be at least 3 quarterbacks traded and 1 coach that'll resign.
Stop it.
My goodness.
Stop it. 1 o'clock press conference today. Oh, by the way, Arians expected to be at it. Arians and Bowles. So we'll see how much that Arians can throw water on us conspiracy theorists who believe that Tom Brady's pulling the strings on all this. Let me tell you, you should see the nasty tweet or text I just got from my mother about Tom Brady.
She's sticking up for Tom?
No, hates him. Absolutely hates him. Tom Brady is the portrait of Dorian Gray, unblemished on the outside, but corrupt on the inside. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's who I grew up with, by the way.
Oh, that explains everything about conspiracy theories and David Moulton. Mom, always love the text. Don't ever stop whatever you do. We thank all of you for listening, especially Mom Moulton, to Miller and Moulton, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea.